Welcome back to the Fast Life Podcast, which is brought to you by Clockworks. I have been running Clockworks windshields on my Harley since 2012, which is when I got my first Road Glide. And as a painter, I've had the pleasure of painting their steel E-coated front and rear fenders that come in a variety of sizes to fit the look you're after. Clockworks, the air management experts, is known for the patented flare windshield that creates downforce, a clean pocket of air, and better audio quality. Clockworks also offers stamped fenders, windshield trim, clip hanger adjustable handlebars. I haven't seen those yet. Phone mounts, cleaning products, and more. Head on over to getclocked.com and get yourself set up, and be sure to use the offer code FAST10 at checkout to save yourself and get free shipping. Check them out. Everyone's favorite biker, Steve Chamberlain, has been pushing his new business, Screaming Speed and Fad, offering Fxr Southside Covers for 2009 and up touring chassis. You might see the Road King we just wrapped up using his side covers. They're pretty badass. And he's soon to be offering for 2008 and down touring chassis. He has other products always being innovated and releasing on the way, like skid plates, being available soon. Use offer code KTFU for 13% off anything on the website, including swag and stickers. Screamin' Speed and Fab on Instagram, screaminspeedandfab.com. No G in the screaming. Check them out. So I've had my 100% handmade in America Invisivin sticker cover on my bagger for over a year. It works so well I forget it's there. For me, cleanliness on a bike is everything, and these Harleys from the factory come with those huge stickers that slap on the down tube that become a huge eyesore for me. This steel powder-coated cover makes that go away instantly, and if you're getting hassled by the man, it's easy to pull off due to the N52 rare earth magnets. So, it's going to be locked on while you smash miles or rip wheelies, but easy to pull off by hand. Covers start at $39.95 and make an immediate difference for those who are looking to ride hard and look good while doing it. Head on over to Invisivin.com and throw that Fast Life offer code to save yourself 15% off, and give these dudes a follow on Instagram at Invisivin. SBC Performance, located in Savage, Minnesota. Their team is dedicated to get you ahead of the rest of the competition. Their shop specializes in in-house high-performance builds, cylinder head porting, machining, dyno tuning, and high-performance suspension. And if you're not in the Minnesota vicinity, head on over to sbcperformance.com to check out their new product line, starting with their new crash bar, aka the Bro Bar. Fitting 2009 to 2020 baggers, this performance crash bar has sleek lines and customizable end caps. Soon to be on the way, their 100% carbon fiber lower fairing spoiler, the first of its kind, fits 2015 to 2020 Road Glides to give your glide that racy look. Their new parts line is the next step in taking your plain Jane glide to a performance ride. Shop them at sbcperformance.com and give them a follow at SBC Performance on Instagram and SBC Performance on Facebook. And you can definitely use Fast Life at checkout to save yourself 10% off. Paint Huffer Metal Flake is the future of the custom paint industry, in my opinion, of course. A company that is dedicated to bringing quality products for custom painters to create the art we do. And Paint Huffer is one of the most supportive paint-related companies out there, with many artists on the team. You can get started down a custom paint path with some rad products at painthuffer.com, and you can get some inspiration at Paint Huffer Metal Flake on Instagram. And check out his offer code. I lost it in my notes. My bad, Brian. Yeah, you can use offer code FASTLIFE13 at checkout and save yourself, I believe it's 10%. I need to be better at this. I've been doing it for too long. My dude John Jessup and his shop in Stockton, California is the spot for in-house dyno tuning, parts, service, and bike sales. You guys got to check them guys out. They're building some cool ass shit out there. You can also go to teamdreamrides.com, which is a great place to dump some cash and take advantage of the 100 days same as cash financing on all products. All you need is a job and a bank account. I'm gonna see if he can give me a camera. I need a new camera, so I'm gonna see if he can do that. Don't forget to give John and the team a follow at Dreamrides John on Instagram. Those are my guys. Check them out. You guys already know Lexan Moto is growing fast and looking to onboard new dealers this year in 2020. Their headsets and charging solutions are ideal in any type of motorcycle shop, big or small, and Lexan has dealer plans to meet your needs. With products that make the riding experience better and more on the way, Lexan offers very competitive dealer margins, fast shipping, and great customer service. Email them at sales@lexanmotorcycle.com and be sure to check them out on Facebook at Lexan Moto USA and on Instagram at Lexan Moto. And don't forget to use offer code FASTLIFE at checkout to save yourself 15% off your entire order. Check them out. And last but not least, I am happy to announce that ThunderMax has generated an offer code to help you guys save on some industry-leading products and technology. Their ECM computers are designed to provide your EFI-equipped Harley-Davidson the most advanced auto-tuning available, meaning that their computer tunes your bike to the conditions in the air. Their air ride rear suspension is a performance air ride rear suspension, giving you the ability to adjust many aspects from the handlebar fucking this up. The handlebar screen. This rear suspension is the best of both worlds. Check out these products at shoptmax.com and please use the offer code FASTLIFE and save yourself a nice 10% off. And follow them on ThunderMax EFI on Instagram. Thank you guys for joining us again today. We got a great podcast, a road tripping podcast to be exact. Before we get into it, I want to thank all of you guys for supporting our Patreon. It's a great place to help promote this website or this podcast and help it go forward. The other best thing you guys can do for us, man, to help out is to check out our sponsors. We have the raddest dudes in the industry as sponsors that make products that I use every day and that I stand behind. So check these guys out. Using those offer codes or at least inquiring about them help show the tracking of our podcast and what it could do for potential sponsors. Also, on Patreon, we've been releasing a couple of little podcasts here and there. I'm going to try to release 1 or 2 a month for sure of like just decent homie conversation podcasts. So if you want to go and check out our Patreon, all you got to do is donate $1 a month. It's not that bad. And you can help support this podcast as well as get a little bit of extra content. And we're still working on getting more and more shops to donate stuff so we can give away to that Patreon. So at any rate, it's a very easy and cheap and effortless way to support this podcast if you dig it. So I appreciate everything you guys currently do for us. And like I said, I want to get into this podcast. It is with my dudes at FXRs of HTX, I believe. I always want to say H-Town. That's how I refer to Houston. But it's Ricky, Candiie, and Adam. They went on a nice little, well, you'll hear about it in this podcast. So check it out. Here they are. Let's do it.
Hey, guys. You ready to let the dogs out?
Fast Life Podcast.
No, it says no service, so how did it get through?
You might have did it downstairs. Once you get up in here, it's complete Narnia.
Well, sorry, Shiloh.
Sorry, everybody.
Sorry, Shiloh.
Yeah. I was trying to let Avon know it's up to you.
Well, we're rolling. So, welcome, Houstonites. Is that
Hello.
Houstonians?
Houstonians, there you go.
Oh, yeah.
Houstonites kind of sounds like a cult.
Yeah. So, what the fuck, guys? Like, what got into you to make you want to ride all over the country so much the last 2 months, basically?
Well, it was a month, 3.5 weeks, 4 weeks with 1 week of downtime. I mean, it really started, it goes way far back to originally in Houston where we organized Sunday rides and everything like that. And kind of the pinpoint of that was just getting slammed on the highway, which you talked about a while ago. Mm-hmm. And that spawned, rebuilding the FXR4, blah, 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 blah. And managed to plan it right around the camp out.
Yeah.
And then Candiie and Ricky, I guess you guys could say hello. They were two of the chargers that went on the actual whole Oklahoma and California trip.
Yeah.
And so we were pushing with Candiie and Ricky, like literally, I told Ricky about it. He only knew about 2 days in advance.
Yeah, it was like 2 days. He's like, hey, man, you want to go on a camping trip? And I'm like, sure.
I was supposed to tell him, but I did not.
Oh, yeah. Shiloh told me, well, Candiie was supposed to let you know everything, and she never called me.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, camping trip. I'm like, oh, okay, we're going to the hill country, freaking 2-3 hours away. No problem. I'm down. And then he calls me back, or he shows up, and he goes, wait, you didn't know it's going to be Oklahoma? I was like, fuck no.
Yeah.
Wrench. Now I need to get shit ready.
And that was 2 days before we left.
Yes.
So we basically planned the whole entire, we knew we were going to go to the Fast Life camp out. I knew the bike needed to be finished up. And she basically just traded in her Indian Dark Horse for a 2019 Road King special.
Yeah. I mean, you had just had it like not even very long when you
I
pulled up.
actually had it for a week, and I didn't ride it because his bike wasn't ready.
Yeah.
So the camp out was the first ride for that bike too.
So literally both rode my bike off the lift, rode it straight to Oklahoma. He does offshore, so he's been,
I was gone like 13 and a half months, so I hadn't done shit, no riding, no wrenching, no nothing. So, they give me the call, and I'm like, all right, cool, we're off.
Yeah. So literally rolled the bike off the lift, got his going, and then just jetted. Pretty much like that morning, we literally rolled the bike off the lift, rode it back, and then just packed everything up like half-assedly. Like, I don't even think we started packing until that morning.
No.
And then Ricky was good to go.
Yeah,
Because we showed up with no tent and no blankets.
Yeah.
In 40-degree weather.
I can't even remember if it was California or Oklahoma when I showed up to your place. Which one was it? That was for Oklahoma, right? I showed up at your place.
I
Yes.
think so.
Yeah. So I showed up over there, and I'm like, I'm loaded and ready to go, and I'm like, where y'all at? And he was still picking up his bikes, and now I'm sitting on his couch, nobody's there, and I'm like, all right, well, I'm just gonna kick back and wait for a little while here.
Yeah.
And they showed up about half an hour afterwards, and then they get there and we start talking. Then he goes, all right, man, I need to pack. And I go, what? He's like, I just got to load the bikes. I was like, oh, Jesus.
Yeah. But, like, that moment was when the actual debauchery started.
Yeah.
To where, so Chris called me the day before, Chris Kano with the FXR 2.
Yeah.
And so he was seeing if we were going to go to the camp out, and I was like, well, shit, I got to roll. I had a windshield in the garage, a quick detach that I was just going to throw on the front and then just take it to Oklahoma and back. And then because the JD Fab fairing bracket didn't come in. And so he's just like, no, just roll over to my house. Because his R2's torn down. He's doing a full top end job on it. So he was just like, roll over to the house. You can take the bracket off of it's the same exact JD Fab front fairing. So take my bracket, and then we can go basically finish the 10 set and take it up to Oklahoma.
Yeah.
So that started the debauchery where we're trying to figure out, like, I'm packing and then figuring out a way to transport my front fairing to Dallas.
I remember that.
Yeah, so this, like, literally, it was like he already had a turtle shell of a pack set up, and then it was like, you're better at telling this one than I am. Like,
So after we get it all wrapped in bubble wrap and we get it strapped to the back of my bike, we take off. And it was, I honestly don't know if it was a really windy day or if it was just a wind sail I had on the back of the bike, but it was a
Did
freaking.
you have it up on a sissy bar basically? Like wrapped to the.
Like on the back of the sissy bar and like tucked up and underneath and there's pictures.
Yeah, like it looks like a huge zit. Like, you ever had that guy in high school that had like the skin condition where they got the big lump on their foreheads or anything like that? It looked like that, but part of the pack. Like, it was just this big bubble wrap, and I didn't have any more tape, so I wrapped it in electrical tape just to make sure. And then it was the sketchiest shit, because riding next to it, in my mind, I'm like, that's gonna tumble and fall and be destroyed.
Try
so
riding
like
behind it.
Yeah. And then it just every
riding
single
with it.
bump we went off, I'm like looking at it, like, holy shit. And then just it was the most nerve wracking. Like, and that was the start of it.
So before you guys did the Oklahoma trip, did it start as we were going to go to the camp out and then do this long loop basically?
Nope.
No, absolutely not.
California was invented in
Well,
a
I
gas
mean,
station stop in
So
Oklahoma.
I'm not even to the California thing. I'm just talking about literally y'all did a nice loop of like almost 10 days it seemed like in the Oklahoma thing.
How long was that
It's
trip?
like 7,
It was-
I think.
Yeah, six
Right around
or 7
7
days. Yeah, 6
Y'all
or
went and
7
saw the
days.
Joe Exotic dude?
Yes.
Sure did.
Yeah, that was
That's
also
a conspiracy.
That was also
So-
figured out along the way. We were just talking about the directions to take, and one of them brought up Joe Exotic, and then next thing you know, we're like, well, where's it at? You know, and I think me and him were jumped on the GPS, and we're looking, we're like, and he goes, oh shit, man, that's like on the way. It doesn't even change our time frame.
Yeah.
Decision made.
111.
You pretty much just went straight to 35.
Yeah, and they just took that all the way down.
Yeah.
Like, and it kind of spot, because at that gas station, I guess in Oklahoma, if you go to jail, you get put in Jailbirds magazine. So when I saw that, I'm like, road treasure right there, like, buy that shit. And they were eating on the side of the road, or on the side of the gas station, and I'm just going through this Jailbirds thing. And somehow through the Jailbird thing, Joe Exotic got brought up. And then, we're just like, well, let's see how far it is. And it was 111 miles. And we're just
He's
like,
the only jailbird we know from Oklahoma.
It's crazy because the pictures you guys took with him, he looks exactly like he's been looking in all the memes.
Yeah.
Right.
He had the same outfit on. It's like, I don't get it. Like, I mean, I get it,
It's
but
a
it's
costume.
weird. Yeah, it's like it's what he's known for. So it's like he's always got to wear it. Kind of like Rick Fairless always had to have a tie-dye shirt on and shit. It's like this dude has to wear that Harley shirt and the bandana and that whole hell yeah brother look has got to be there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
This supports the conspiracy. So, because while we were there, we roll up and we pretty much broke into the place. It's like, so when you walk into it, there's basically a ticket counter, everything like that. You can see the prices, and it was $15 to get in, and we're like, fuck that. Like, but right when you turn to your left to the door to enter the actual premises, there's Rob. I keep on calling him Jeff Lowe. Is it Jeff Lowe?
It is Jeff Lowe.
Jeff
Jeff
Lowe.
Lowe.
I keep on calling him Rob
Lowe
Lowe for
or
some
Lowe?
reason.
Yeah, Rob Lowe.
Well, yeah. So Jeff Lowe was just sitting there, and I'm sure it's to get people to go inside to buy tickets or whatever. But he's wearing this like Harley jacket and his Oakley, like literally full Jeff,
The full on Detroit biker mixed Floridian mess.
It's pretty bad. So in my brain, I'm like, he's wearing a Harley leather jacket. We just rode Harley Davidsons from Houston to Oklahoma. Like, he can't say no to take a picture with us.
Yeah.
So I just bypassed that whole entire door, did beeline for him, and just like, hey, we rode from Houston. Do you mind fucking taking a picture? And of course, he was like, yeah, cool, whatever.
He didn't charge you, like do some like Comic-Con shit.
Well, that was shortly after.
No, that's what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
You know, so he sits right out. You know, if you've seen that picture that I took with Carol Baskin standing there in the doorway, and then him in the background. So that's taken from the front entrance where you have to pay to go through that door.
Right.
So you pay to go through that door, but instead of paying to go through that door, we just went straight to him. He talked to him. We come out. We took the little group picture. The lady comes running out. She's like, they didn't pay. And we're like, I guess he told her. I'm just waved and walked off.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, we're gonna go pay now. Instead of getting in line, we just bolted.
We just fucking deuced out. Like we got our picture of that shit.
So we got the con man.
Yeah.
I didn't watch that show. I've been pretty vocal on this podcast. I have no intentions of watching it, but it's just funny. Like once you get to that point of success, like how do you, or not success? Let me rephrase that. Once you just like hustle a dude out of whatever. Like I said, I don't know the story. I got the whole thing through memes basically. But once you, like, what do you do? Like, what
probably
do you,
just as legit.
what do you do to kind of like capitalize on all this attention and it makes sense to charge people to take a picture or, you know, whatever the case may be. I mean, I don't think that I would do that, but at the same time, like, I've never had millions and millions of people know who I am, and I'm literally making nothing. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Well, that's where the conspiracy came into play. That was when we walked outside and got stopped by a local. He's like, hey, guys, did you hear the new news or the new whatever? And we're like, what? Like, we're all like, oh, shit. You know?
Because it's an insider thing.
Yeah.
Like somebody standing right inside of the deal, you know? Like, right in the doorway.
Like, you had to be there, you know? And the conspiracy was that Carol Baskin's, Jeff Lowe is Carol Baskin's ex-husband, who basically faked his own death and then redesigned this whole identity. And then this was all a plot to take over Joe Exotic's resources. And then so from they were just like, this has been a conspiracy.
She's not trying to shut him down now. That's all, you know.
Yeah. And she was fucking there. Like, and she had her stupid Carol Baskin's hair and hat, and she had a face mask on and everything, but Ricky took a picture of her and she waved.
Oh, she was literally there?
Yeah, like Ricky has a picture of her.
I gotta show you.
Yeah, and just how the reaction was, like if someone took a picture of you out in public, you could be like, what the fuck? You know, unless you're famous to where it's just like you're used to it.
I got in her face. I was like,
yeah. There was no like bashfulness or anything like that.
No.
And then she just picked up and waved, you know, so she's already accustomed to the fame, so it had to be Carol Baskin's. And she was there, and then literally we got a picture of her, and then 10 feet in the background is Jeff Lowe sitting on the bench.
Damn, you already got it set up like a meme.
Yeah.
It didn't take long.
Can't escape it, man.
Yeah, she's got a little bit more Oklahoma like money than like that area of Oklahoma looks like it has. So
yeah, as soon as
she's got that old lady swag going on where she's got some money.
I mean, I had that camera right up there, and she just waved, you know, and nobody who does that, you know, you don't wave at somebody. You're like, what are you doing, weirdo?
Yeah, it's fucking Carol Baskin.
She's just like, oh, look, another fan.
Mm-hmm.
So the thing is, they're saying that Homeboy is just like the faked death. Yeah. Why would he fake the death though?
But he's a con man, right? Because literally, like, I forgot what his name was when I saw him. Like, hey, it's that fucking con man, and everyone knew who I was talking about. Yeah. So, like, if you can imagine, if he's already a con man, and so go back in the day to the '80s or whenever this happened, and then let's say he was either in debt federally or with the state or loan sharks or something, to where he needed to clear something up. And back in the day, you would just fake your own death, get a new security number, and then start a new identity. And if looking at him, you're just like, that looks like a person in witness protection. fashion. Like how he is dressed does not fit his personality or how he talks or anything like that. So it wouldn't make sense to where once he developed this new identity throughout the years, then it just became him. It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, but I thought that was a little crazy, and I went ahead and looked at pictures of them both, and it's pretty uncanny. They resemble each other a lot.
Yeah, somebody on Reddit found it. Like, we went all deep into it because we're just like conspiracies
"What?"
and shit. And
It's the new JFK.
yeah.
So basically, after you guys did this trip, then and you said so on this trip is when the whole thing for the California thing kind of birthed.
Exactly.
Right?
Like it pretty much how, because the vibe of the whole, the riders that were included with Candiie and Ricky and just how we were riding together, and just because long trips take a toll, and having the right people during long trips makes a huge difference on how successful that trip is going to be. So just how the vibes were going, the bikes were running great, and I literally just sitting there and just, I could ride this bitch all the way across the state. And then that's when we were at that gas station in Moyers, Oklahoma, to where I just looked over at Candiie and I was just like, what do you feel about just riding to California instead of just mailing the tank off? Because now we can't trust the mail service. Yeah. So we might as well just, fuck it, we got the time. It's literally, gas prices are at its cheapest, and Airbnbs and hotels are cheap. Like, we got lucky on a lot of them finding $30 and $40 hotels.
And the roads are clear.
Yeah, and then just like it was a once in a lifetime opportunity for California that will never ever happen again.
Yeah, yeah.
So and then
That's
we
a good
just
point.
we just took it, and then just coming back from Oklahoma, like literally, one of Candy's friends housed us. I can
Robin and her husband Allie in Santa Barbara. Yeah, we rode out there.
Damn,
too.
y'all are fucking far away from Andy then.
Well, that was Well, that before then for Dallas, like on the way to Moyers, Oklahoma, on the way back from Moyers after the Tiger King, we went to a house that Candy knew, and they didn't know me and Ricky for nothing. But like
you're talking about Mike and Raina.
Yeah,
in Dallas.
right.
Yeah.
So they had previously done they pre-marinated steaks. They did. They
turned on the
preheated
hot
pool.
tub, turned on the heated pool. I was like, yay. And I met them at Giddy Up, first year at Giddy Up, and we've been friends ever since. So
that's cool.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, they set us smooth up.
Yeah.
But, so they were talking about how they came to discussing the California trip. Well, I didn't know. I thought that this was a plan from the get-go, so I overheard a conversation, but I missed the beginning of it. And I was just like, California, let's go. So I slide over, and I'm like, well, hey, I want to go. And like, oh, yeah, you're going. Like, out there, apparently I was a part. So this was a little conversation. I'm like, all right, cool, California, all right. Yeah. So I had no idea that this was that they had just birthed this idea right there sitting at the gas station.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, sweet.
Yeah. Like that phone call was behind the gas station that I made to Andy. I'm like, hey man, we're kind of thinking about just riding there. How do you feel about that? And he was just like, whatever. He blew us off at first. I'm like, no, I'm serious. Like, we're gonna get back from Oklahoma. We need a week to fix the bikes for shit that we broke, and then we're just gonna ride to California. I got a buddy in Huntington Beach, and then we're just gonna fucking go there, pull the tank there, and then just drive it over to you, and you can repair it while we're waiting. Mm-hmm. So and then he just, I guess he never took us seriously until we actually left, and then he was just like, oh. And then, it became serious once we got to Vista and dropped the tank off, because he literally took it same night, like fucking already had it sanded, bondoed, and started work on it immediately.
Yeah. I was going to say, the process is a little bit long on that. Not long, but it does take more than just like a day to knock that out, unless you have like those fancy-ass paint booths, which I don't, because we're sitting on top of it right now.
Yeah.
But, no, that's actually cool that it all went down that way. Have you ever ridden cross country?
Yes.
You've done it. You have?
I have.
She has.
Several times.
I've spent days where I rode just as long as we rode to go cross country, but usually I'm just around Texas and Louisiana and stuff. Nowhere else really.
Yeah. I took my first trip in 2000, and this is the hardest trip I've ever ridden. They tricked me though, because their bikes worked fine through Oklahoma, and they were shit through California. The expectations in the bar were like up here, and I was like, whoa. In fact, he even said to me, he was like, "You're like the nicest person I've ever met." That was 2 months ago, and on this trip, he was like, "Oh,
yeah, the bones came out."
He was like, "You have a mean bone in your body."
Yeah, there
and
it
then
is.
2 weeks into the trip, he's like, "Bones."
There it is.
It was still a fantastic fucking ride.
What was the trip you took in the early 2000s?
That was my first trip to the Smoky Mountains. I bought my first motorcycle as a V-Star 650, and 6 months after I owned it, some friends of mine that had Harleys were going to the Dragon's Tail, and I was like, I want to go. So I rode a V-Star 650 with a bunch of giant Harleys up to the Smoky Mountains, and I was hooked. And I've been riding since.
Yeah, that's how'd you like riding the Tail of the Dragon?
I love it. I'm ready to go again.
Yeah, I think personally, I've said it a million times on here. People are probably over it now, but I didn't like riding it. I thought it was a little bit too tight of cornering.
It's crazy tight.
Yeah.
And, you know, for being a new rider and getting up there on those tight turns, not only that, the crotch rocket bikes zooming by you freaked me out.
Yeah.
So it was rough.
You can't cruise it, which not that I want to cruise it, but the road that we took from Tellico Plains into like Fontana Dam and then hit the thing to come back across was way more swoopy and like bigger, fatter turns that you can kind of just rail into them on a Harley and shit. And the Teledragon, it's like you're just back and forth, just dipping left and right. If you're trying to push through it, if you're cruising it, it's equally as hard because you got cars, you got sport bikes, you got all the photographers everywhere taking pictures, trying to sell you that shit, and it has a tendency to distract you hardcore. And those corners are fucking, tight. You know what I mean?
Sketch.
Yeah, I haven't had the pleasure of experiencing that. I'm dying to do it because I went to Bali and I got to ride Harleys in the mountains there.
Yeah.
And that was 3 hours one way of all twisties and freaking hairpins and you're dodging. Instead of sport bikes, it's little old ladies with baskets on their heads and, chickens and goats. And, for whatever reason, when they do construction there, instead of putting their pile of dirt or rocks or bricks or whatever on the site, they dump them in the middle of the road and then they go pick it from. So you're dodging around crap like that too. I mean, it's and you're on the
just blinking before your eyes,
and you're on the left hand side of the road, but and you're looking at the badass. Rice paddies and all the cool scenery and stuff, So I'd like to make the comparison, though, on the twisties and stuff, with that, because literally, I mean, that was 3 hours one direction of twisties and, and then 3 hours back of nothing but twisties.
Did y'all do any, did y'all mainly hit the main highways as far as like 10 all the way there? Or did
Hell
you go
no. Yeah, on the way back,
yeah.
But we took 90. We kind of jetted through San Antonio because we stopped by Electron first because their engineer, they got us all tuned up because we were basically like, Electrons are spaceships, they're brand new carburetors, and we did our best to try and tune them, but still, it's there's a strong, steep learning curve when it comes to those. But once you get it, it's good, and you can pretty much work on it on the road as quickly with very limited time. But we stopped by Electron first in San Antonio, and then just booked it. Took 90 and then straight to Sanderson. So we stayed at the Desert Air. So this is when California started. We left from San Antonio after Electron and then just booked it to the Desert Air hotel. So
Where was that at?
Sanderson, Texas. So probably
that's right. That's right at the end of the hour and a half long thunderstorm.
Yeah, 80 miles.
80 miles worth of thunderstorm.
And then
it was sketchy.
Keep in mind, for the first week, my fucking ignition blew.
Mine was fried too.
Yeah, but yours was new exhaust, new carburetor, because you broke one of your brackets on your Thunder header during the Oklahoma trip. So that we spent there was no planning. We spent our entire trip fixing our fucking bikes to get ready for California. And then once we left, we had an idea of what we were going to do. I knew I was going to go through Sanderson. Pretty much everything I said in my head that we were going to do, we completely missed the shoot for, our timing wise.
Yeah.
Because it's of course, we were 2 hours late this time getting to fucking, where did we, Buc-ee's? Wherever we met at.
Right.
Yeah, we were 2 hours late this time because we overslept, and then
And I only had 45 minutes of sleep, so I was trying to take a nap in front of Buc-ee's when they pulled up.
So we started the California trip, and he only had 45 minutes because he was trying to square his bike away.
And my bike was not squared.
No,
until 45 minutes before.
I like all the videos and the posts that you guys did of parking y'all's bikes in the hotel rooms, and it's why do y'all do that? People don't steal those fucking things.
Yeah, they do.
Oh, man.
Yeah, they
Are you
fucking
kidding
do.
me? In Tucson?
No.
FXRs? Bye-bye.
Says the guy who had his bike stolen during one of his podcasts.
Yeah, that was no, it's I mean, I know people steal bikes, but usually people steal bikes when they scout bikes there. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So if you're going to Rot Rally or you're going to, places where people know are going to be bikes, but when you're traveling across the country and you pull over and park at a hotel, you're usually pretty good.
I think it's more peace of mind. We were running from so many gremlins since day one that it's just take out even the thought of when I walk outside on my bike.
Not only that, if I park the bike in, I don't got to unpack that son of a bitch.
Yeah.
And make sure just clowns.
Yeah, she talked a lot of shit when we parked.
It was the bike outside that literally the tins probably bring a couple grand is the one that's fine.
Well, they can't pick that up and put it in the back of a truck.
And we
grab ours.
can't fit it through the door.
Yeah. It'll take
I'm
a
just
couple more
tougher than
dudes for
them.
that one.
That's all.
Yeah. Just pro tip on
Or
parking
she
your
has
bikes.
full coverage insurance. We'll do the job.
True that.
Yeah.
True that.
But Joe, don't leave your petcock on if you want to park your carbureted motorcycle inside of a hotel room.
Okay, so my petcock was leaking. It didn't matter if I left it on or not. That thing was leaking.
Yeah.
I changed it out since then.
Dude, that's a rough thing. Even like when I used to transport a lot of parts, picking things up, if there was just like a hint of gas left over in a gas tank, you put it in the trunk, you drive across town. By the time you get back, you're high as fuck or just got a headache from all the fumes and shit. Yeah, I get it, man.
I had to crack the
couldn't
door
imagine.
open.
Yeah.
I
So
slept
they
like
park
a
the bikes
baby.
inside and then they leave the door open all night while we're sleeping.
Well, I did the fucking foldy thingy. Like, I used the security fold thing that you can
Okay,
drop
okay.
kick and just fuck up. But I mean, it was peace of mind. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Maybe
like Sanderson going like, so pretty much 90. I took the Terlingua road, that Dustin mapped out for the Terlingua trip, and I don't think I got it totally correct because I remember it being way more awesome. But it was just I mean, there was a lot of twisties and stuff, which what we were aiming for.
Yeah.
But it was the fact that we're still kind of winging the ride, and to everybody who wants to go on a long ride, like it's incredibly intimidating listening to a lot of these guys that do like super prepared stuff, and they got like, what do they call it? What are those camelback things called?
Oh, yeah.
Camelbacks.
The camel pack.
Yeah, and they're doing that. And they're like, you need to bring cold weather gear, and there's gonna be changes now to like be all this prepared. And it's like in 800 miles, we didn't even figure out that we got a GPS the next gas stop until we ran out of gas pretty much and hit our reserves, and we're just like, I hope I can make it 5 miles up the road to the next fucking gas stop.
Yeah.
Well, I had a bottle on the bike too, you know.
Yeah.
So we were ready, you know, for that.
Little preparedness can still
this
make
your
a
first-
successful
Is
Is this
trip.
your first cross country trip?
No, I mean, the longest was Colorado Springs.
Okay,
but that was
good
about, we had 13 or 14 riders. I mean,
yeah.
the less amount of riders is the more responsibility
So I
you
feel
have.
like everybody's a little spoiled when they do trips with me because I plan so much shit out. Not to the point where it's not enjoyable, but every gas stop, the next stop's planned. So the whole trip is like, because when you go across country, sometimes you have to make a 50-mile stop so that you can make the next 150 miles. You know what I
Right.
mean? So it might be, let's do it 50 miles, and then we have to actually put down 120 to the next realistic place. So you're stopping every 20 miles, especially when you get out in the desert and shit. There's always like those gaps right between like Lordsburg, New Mexico or some shit, and fucking Tucson. That's a weird area where there's like a couple gas stations. I think you can get to Benson and stuff, but you can find a couple 50, 60-mile gaps of nothing. You know what I mean? And then, of
Yeah,
course-
that's what we eventually started doing once my odometer broke.
And we had nothing.
Well, because
Yeah.
what we were doing
Right.
was we're like, all right, so we know we got X amount of gas at 100 miles. We'll start looking, you know, and then so that's what we were doing.
That's the thing. At 100 miles, it could be another 25 to 30.
Yeah. But we were also doing that, early. Once we started getting to the desert and stuff, then we started putting a little more thought into it. It wasn't totally winging it.
Yeah. Like we actually had miles to go. Like I think our break point was 120 miles.
Yeah, dude, like every once in a while I have the energy to do like a 120 miles or on the bagger, knock out 150 to, I've done 200 plus before, on straight highway, but that was more like to say I did it, not so much that I want to do that all the time because sitting on the bike that long just gets to be kind of a pain in the ass.
I did that
you know?
once on my
Literally.
Indian just to see how far I could go, and I don't recommend it. You
Yeah.
zone out big time.
Yeah. There was,
Well, my bike's not going to do 150 unless the last 30 miles are downhill.
I did 207 on the Indian before I stopped for gas.
Yeah.
And it was hard.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
No, I've done when I did California last February, not this one, but last year, same thing. I did I had a couple runs. I did it all solo, so it was kind of nice to do it that way solo because, if I felt good, I could keep going instead of like having to worry about everybody else and how they felt. Because, I passed Phoenix. I was like, all right, I'm gonna stop at like that junction from I-8 and 10 where they split. I'm gonna get gas there and get something to eat. But I felt good. I wasn't like starving, so I was like, fuck it. I pushed on to Tucson. Felt good still. Rode that all the way. I rode from Tucson and one tank of gas all the way to almost, what's the town right after, if you're going to Cali, right after Dumas or something like that, or Deming, New Mexico?
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Deming.
I rode to there, and then from there I rode all the way to Yeah, you just
with your 6-gallon gas tanks.
5.5. No, but you know, like you can like make those kind of decisions last minute because, you know, once the sun goes down, it gets hard to ride through the desert. You know what I mean? It's just dark. You don't. Not that I'm worried. I'm less worried about like deer running out than I would be if I was riding around like fucking, you know, the hill country or some shit. But it's just riding at night is so like deadening. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't. You don't.
You get like hypnotized by the road. You know.
Yeah, there's nothing to like
engage.
There's no engagement.
Yeah, there's nothing to keep your head going. I mean, you're just like literally tunnel vision, I guess. You know, for
looking at that little dotted line in front of you, just disappearing off into nowhere.
Yeah,
that'll mind numb your mind for sure.
So after that is it Sanderson or Anderson?
Sanderson
was the first humbling experience to where we figured out it's not great to run with no tack speedos or odometers because none of us had any of that shit.
Well,
and then
they were going 75 and I couldn't catch them at 100. So
yeah,
no, but that was in the mountains. We'll get there.
Yeah,
that was the trip.
my ignorant ass is like, I got Waze. It has it has a speed limit thing. So I'm just like, that thing is correct every single time. No, it is not.
No.
And so so I would thought that I was going 75 miles an hour. Oh no. And then because for the first until after Sanderson, when did your speedo break?
It was before Sanderson because I was relying on my Google Maps of the same, just like Waze. You know, I was relying on that for my speedometer.
Well, that's when my false confidence started because I would look over at your bike because I could still see his speedo, and then I would be like, okay, his says 85 and mine says 85, and I was like checking. I was like, all right, you know, I guess this is how it works. Yeah. You know, so that was how we did it. But then we went through the rainstorm in Sanderson, which was just like all red and yellows. And I mean, there was a significant amount of time we were just staring at it in front of us. Yeah. And there was lightning. It was beautiful. Like Ricky got a lot of footage from his Cena.
I sacrificed my Cena for this because I had it plugged in, you know, and charging. And I was like, I don't care. Let it burn up. If I get some badass lightning and I get some badass, I mean, and I did. I got some good shots with that. And you can see Adam the whole time in front of me, but her and I couldn't see him at all. Like I couldn't see him. But so I'm fast forwarding through the videos. I'm like, where's he at? Where does he leave? Where does he disappear? I'm like, fucking hey, he was just outside of my vision, but the camera picked him up the whole time.
That's cool.
Yeah. From what I can see in the camera, he really wasn't that far away. But our visors were so bug crusted and road grime and with the water, you know, and oil and everything else.
Well, oil should act like
rain X.
Oil, yeah, it should, but no, oil and water get together, it just turns into like this haze.
It's not good.
We were hazy as fuck.
Yeah. So did y'all go down through Terralingua and all that stuff, or did you just kind of take that through like Marfa and all that shit?
Marfa.
We went through Marfa. Yeah.
That was my fault because I had been dying to see the Prada store. So.
Dude, that's cool. I want to go and check that shit out.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's just like it's a prop store, basically.
Yep. Well, cool, what it was is I guess some artist, and they're like from freaking Norway or some shit. I don't remember. I'm totally wrong about that, I'm sure. But they were doing the project for Marfa. The installation was supposed to be done in Marfa. And Marfa was like, no, that doesn't work for us. So the guy we talked to.
In Valentine, Texas.
Yeah, the guy we talked to, his wife donated the land and he just kind of caretakes and keeps it clean and stuff like that.
And Valentine
cleans up the condoms
got
behind
like
it.
a little setup kind of like they do at the bridge in France where they have all the locks and shit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Something like that.
That's correct.
He did
That's
a video. The owner of the property came and did a video with us, and he even said, we talked about the locks, and he said, I've only seen one guy come unlock off the gate because it's supposed to be
What's
like
the
a proper
concept
love.
behind that?
It's supposed to be like a love theme, and you lock it with your loved one, and it's supposed to be forever. And
but if you like have
if
a
you
divorce,
come unlock it, he said all these years I've only seen one person come unlock his lock.
Yeah. Like, how does it got to be that dude? You know?
Yeah.
Like, holy, she's probably from like Pennsylvania and just drove all the way down. They're like, fuck this.
Yeah, he's like, I'm done.
He's got both.
That was the final, like, I gotta get that fucking block.
Bought his own torch kit.
Yeah.
So the first day you guys made it to Sanderson, basically?
Pretty much, yeah.
And then the second day was where?
On 45 minutes of sleep.
Shit. Like, the second day was fucking...
We didn't make it to Tucson.
Well, that was the push. Like, the second day was just getting the fuck out of Texas. Like, I love Texas to death, but hot damn, trying to get out of this fucking state. It's just, it takes literally, we took a picture in front of it, and I just fucking smoked. And I was just like, it took 2 fucking days to get out of this goddamn state. And that's hooking it, you know? And then...
halfway to L.A.
Yeah, pretty much. And then
That's ridiculous, isn't it?
Yeah, 5 hours.
It's within like 100 miles, but it literally from like I know from Dallas, and I think you guys are even further to El Paso, right? Than we are.
We
How
were
much?
850 something.
56,
Okay,
856.
so we're only
Yeah.
600. So you definitely are 8. Because
Yeah.
for us, well, I guess it would make sense because for us, LA is like 1,400 miles. So we're like 200 miles shy of basically that being the center or whatever. But if you guys are 800 and from El Paso to there, it's right around, what was it? I think it's right around like 800, 900 miles, something like that.
I know there was some gas station that put it at like in Arizona that was 1,500 miles. So and it only took 5 hours to go through New Mexico.
Yeah, Mexico's
Yeah,
you're just hitting that bottom point.
That's almost blink, pink, and you're through.
It was literally like
The
riding
cops are
fucking
bad
Dallas.
there. Yeah.
Like it's the equivalent of what we just rode this morning, and then you can go from El Paso to fucking all the way through New Mexico.
Yeah.
I was really surprised. We didn't have any problems with the cops.
Not every time, but a lot of times I see there's always a lot of cops right around the border checking point right there in like Van Horn, Texas and shit. But then
Right.
for some reason right at there's another border crossing checkpoint, or it's not a crossing, but a checkpoint at just past what's the main town you go through, Las Cruces? Mm-hmm. Just on the other side of that, you got to go through one of those little spots. And I've always seen, I got pulled over in the car once going through there.
We didn't get anything. I mean,
And the cops are always bad between Tucson and Phoenix. There's
I told
always
my
bad
son, I
cops
took my
there.
son for his 10th birthday to California, and we stopped at that stop, and I had my son convinced. I was like, you better know the Pledge of Allegiance, or we're going to get you. I'm such a habit.
That's awesome.
That's pretty cool.
yeah.
He's like in the car, he's like,
He totally did. And then he was saying when they got to the window, and they're like, what? And I was like, keep talking.
that's like the first thing you like. He's definitely not from here, so let's get this.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Cavity check. Mom.
That's crazy.
Yep. So that was the push. We were supposed to go to Phoenix, but like just how the schedule went, we were basically like this trip was just going off of vibes. Like it's just what if we wanted to hang out somewhere, we would hang out somewhere. If we wanted to spend a little bit of time at Electron, like those guys were super rad, and getting tons of information for them, and they were kind of teaching us the workings of the carburetor because we need to know how the fuck it works if we're about to knock out 4,000 miles.
Yeah.
Right, like I looked at their videos that they had put out, and it's actually of Kevin, the engineer there, doing the whole thing. So whenever he was doing ours, I was like, all right, so, and I would ask him a question. I knew what he was doing from what I seen in the videos, and I mimicked all that shit. But he was real forthcoming with that stuff too.
Yeah.
He was, any question I had, he was all over it.
What makes their carburetor so much different than Mikuni or CV or something like that?
No jets would be a big
No
one.
jets. It's
what
the
it is?
metering rod. So the metering rod basically functions as the jet. So the metering rod will expand and contract based on weather conditions, based on altitude, everything like that. So it's made out of specific metal. I'm not a scientist. I don't know how the metering rod is made, but the concept of it, that's how it works. So basically, like if you're going higher up in altitude, it'll lean your motor out. And then if you're like,
so it does it automatically without you adjusting it.
So the fuel has to go through the metering rod before it gets misted into the intake.
Yeah.
So as it's going through, the metering rod will basically suffocate it, or by getting larger, or as it gets skinnier, it'll enrich in the motor. Oh. So that is your jet. And then it was proven going through San Diego.
Yeah, when we went through every mountain pass we went through, no problem, no stutter, no stall, no sputter, no nothing. Powered right on through like it was fuel injected, like there was something in there going, all right guys, give me more here, all right, take a little here,
Yeah.
And when I say we ain't got
Works smooth.
shit, like we ain't got shit. We don't have air fuel sensors. We don't have anything. And
if it don't make it stop, it don't make it go, it ain't on the bike.
yeah. So like going up, there was no deceleration pops. We had full throttle. I think the highest we went was 4,000 feet going into San Diego. But like right there, I was listening to it because I'm just like, I want to see what the fuck this carburetor's about. So we're gunning it up the hills, and that kind of turned into Candiie complaining that she couldn't catch us going down the mountain, because that's where the GPS story goes into where like pretty much. So this is between Houston and San Diego is when that amount of distance was when we were completely unaware that if I go out of coverage or I lose GPS signal, it'll just keep the same speed that it was when it currently had the GPS signal. So we were fucking bombing these mountains, unloading these carburetors, and then Candie's trying to keep up, and
it's super windy, crazy windy, and I had left my sunglasses on, and it got dark.
Oh yeah.
Ricky finally remembered. He pulled over, and Adam was still like, and Ricky's like, "You got sunglasses on?" Huh? I was like, "Yes, thank you." I was just gonna try to wing it, but yeah.
Well, what did you for coming into San Diego? Because you were trying to follow us down the mountain. What was that like?
That wind was insane, and you never knew which way it was coming from. Those mountains coming into San Diego. It was. I've been through them before in a car, but I don't remember it being like that.
Yeah, see, I've been through that pass a bunch in
so y'all didn't stop
cars.
at Glamis? It's 20 miles off the road.
What was Glamis?
Glamis is the sand dunes. It's like
It was dark.
We passed by them.
Yeah. We didn't hit San Diego till almost 11 at night. So,
okay.
Yeah. And then that's when we found out that we were bombing that hill going down the mountain to San Diego at 110 miles an hour, thinking that we were only going 75.
I wasn't thinking anything because I wasn't looking at shit. I was just riding.
He was just trusting me.
I totally thought he had the speed, you know. I'm like, all right, whatever. We're just fucking throwing the bike, you know.
So were you were able to see what the next corner was going to be though? That's the only thing I give a shit about on the GPS.
Yeah.
I don't even look at that.
Fine.
Well, so if you're running corners or running curves, like say you're doing the Tail of Dragon, you have to kind of set up for the next corner.
Right. Well, the whole thing was at like most of it's at a 6% grade, so you can kind of see what's going down. Okay. You know what I mean? Because it's below you and in front of you.
Yeah.
So while we're going down, you know, it's all right there. You know, so you have a good idea of what's coming anyway. So I wasn't even really looking at my GPS unless I got confused.
Yeah, he's got video of Adam on a straightaway, and Adam's still leaning like this.
Yeah.
That's how bad it was.
Yeah. So as you're coming into those mountains, you got all those windmills and everything sitting over there. So we came through, and I've been through there before in cars and box trucks. That shit's windy as fuck, you know. But this is the first time I've ever been through there on a bike. And I got video of him, and I'm like, oh, shit. You can hear me screaming in the fucking thing. I'm like, look at this motherfucker. He's leaning left like he's trying to turn. He's just trying to go straight. And we're both like this.
Heavy crosswinds.
And you never knew, like she was saying earlier, you never know where that shit's coming from. You know, like, the pass will open up in front of you, and you're like, okay, cool. It's probably going to be coming from whichever direction. Nope, it's coming from the other direction. I had one of them come at me so hard head on. Like, it was like I was hitting the brakes, and I was all throttle. You know, it's like, what the fuck? And you can hear me screaming in my video, oh, shit, it's slowing me down.
Because with those new Cenas, like, that can record, like, it'll pull off your microphone, too. So we're listening to so he pulls the video up on our laptop when we get into San Diego, and it's fucking hilarious. Because he's commentating this whole entire time. Like, we're taking 35-mile-an-hour turns, and I'm straight up. Like, my bike is not leaning at all. And I'm just like, fuck. Like, I'm pissed and frustrated, because I'm like, this fucking blows.
Yeah, she was like, God, that shit had me nervous as fuck. And you hear me all giggling. I'm like, woohoo, yeah, motherfucker.
Again, sunglasses.
Yeah. That's right, yeah, sunglasses. And no jackets. None of us had jackets on yet either.
And those were prescription sunglasses, so I couldn't throw them off or I'd be blind.
Yeah, that would have been bad.
Messy.
Yeah,
worse.
I was getting pissed in the wind because I'd finally be comfortable, and it's just like, and I'm just like, son of a fuck. Like, and we got 30 miles of this bullshit.
Yeah,
you know?
I'm like, it was just sketchy enough to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, and it was. Yeah. So that was when we passed that gas stop too. So we kept on. That was when we started pushing the carburetors to see how much we can get. It went from 100 miles to 110 miles to 120 miles. But I guess that's where I was like, oh shit, because I mean, you're riding through crosswinds and headwinds, you're knocking off 10 or 15 miles out of your tank.
Yeah.
So it's like, shit, are we gonna make it over?
I think the most I've ever done on my FXR with the Mikuni 42 was, I think I did like right at 145, 150.
Wow.
Tops.
That's really good.
A lot.
Yeah, and I don't recommend it.
Right,
it was in Sturgis, and we were coming down like the Iron Mountain or one of those places, and there's like very few gas stations there, so it was like I was trying my ass off. Actually, I think it was 149. I think it was actually on the odometer. I was with Jeremy from Houston and fucking Jay Weezy.
Jay Weezy.
We were down there, yeah, because we were in Sturgis together 2 or 3 years ago. I can't remember, and man. Scary, but yeah, I get it, man. Like on those bike trips, I've actually done that on the bagger once, where I didn't see the actual exit, and I am absolutely not turning around. for any reason. So, no, it wasn't I wouldn't turn around. I have the worst pet peeve of exiting and going to the other side of the highway to get gas.
Me too.
If it's not on the side, I will go to the next fucking town.
Same.
So it's just that old man shit that starts coming in where I'm like, I'm set in my ways. Do not try to change me. Same thing with restaurants. Like I'll wait till there's Applebee's on this side of the highway.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's how it was in Wilcox, Arizona. I wasn't going over that fucking other side of the goddamn fucking highway.
Yeah, that shit was
It's
funny.
pretty small.
Yeah, but when you blow your fucking ignition, it gets
Right.
it
It gets smaller.
Literally started breathing fire.
Yeah.
Like we were back at him, and there was like 5 big booms and like flames. And I'm looking at Ricky, waiting for him to catch up with him. I'm like, what are you gonna do?
So we were riding staggered, right? And this is still on the way out to California.
Yeah.
And it's like rapid fire, boom, 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 5 fucking big fireballs,
Flames.
one right after the other, like 1.5 feet in diameter, just big motherfuckers. And I was like, oh shit, and I'm watching Adam now, and we're, like I said, we're staggered, and he kind of looks down a little bit. I'm like, okay, he knows, he sees what's up. And then he looks forward and he keeps on going. I'm like, he thinks it's a backfire, so I hauled ass.
just like fuck it.
I hauled ass, got in front of him, and I'm like giving hand signals, and I'm pretty sure those hand signals, said exactly what I was thinking. Boom, boom, big fucking fire, pull the fuck over,
Yeah, I don't, man. So after y'all got stuck in that like Wilcox for more than a day. Though,
Yeah,
day and a half.
Like we got super lucky. We were about half a mile because we pulled over, and then it's just like start diagnosing. So it's like check the coil, make sure the power of the coil didn't go out, make sure all those wires are good because I sound like fucking balls. It's like pop, 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 like a fucking shit. And then started again. Boom, lost the rear front cylinder.
Well, it was fortunate that this happened like a fucking mile from the next hotel in Wilcox. And so she gets next to him and they with the hazards on and stuff and I hung back because it's fucking dark ass highway there. There's no fucking lights and you got 18 wheelers blasting by 85, 90 miles an hour. These big giant motherfuckers don't give a shit. So I'm weaving back and forth and I don't have any other lights, so I'm tapping on my fucking on my brake light, I'm like weaving back and forth, fucking waving my arms and shit. And then this one guy's like, he's like, I don't give a fuck. And I'm like, all right, well, I'm getting a hazard lane. I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah.
He did slow down, thankfully, but Jesus, man,
where'd y'all end up finding ignitions at?
That was a place called we eventually settled with Road Oilers.
Awesome.
But
but putting the word out,
the whole concept,
awesome,
like the motorcycle family is definitely still there and still vibrant because I mean I just made it like I let Nick know and then just a couple of other guys I sent it out. I'm like, hey, this is what happened. We pulled it off. I mean, we looked at the nose cone and it was just shredded. So the flyweight was completely jacked. So the spring of the flyweight actually ended up getting compromised. So once that hit, it tore into my pickup and blew that whole bottom pickup, which we didn't find out till later. And but we sent it out, hey, we need a flyweight, send out anybody got one in the Tucson area. And then probably within 10 or 15 minutes, we got a message from an Instagram handle with a Great 48, which just was, what do you need? And I was just like, well, we're still trying to diagnose it. But I mean, if we do need anything, we'll hit you up. And they're like, well, we got trucks, we got trailers, and we got all this. So just let us know, we'll come up. And then just lo and behold, that next morning going through it, then that's when we figured it out and then hit him up and then it kind of blown up from there. People started reposting it on their Instagrams like, hey, these guys are in Wilcox, Arizona. They need a flyweight to get back on the road. Probably within half an hour, we tracked down a flyweight in Tucson and one of the guys with the Great 48 drove there, picked up the flyweight and then drove an hour to Wilcox to drop it off for us.
Damn.
And it gets even cooler. Because it didn't work. We put it in, only had one cylinder, still fucking up. It's still fucked. So we made a decision, okay, let's get into Tucson, let's get somewhere where we have parts. So he didn't even have a lift or tie downs or anything, and then he just rolled over to AutoZone, no questions asked. He just bought a motorcycle lift, he's like, well, I need one. And then bought tie downs, and then literally we rolled that bitch up into the back of his truck. And
Motorcycle
ramps, yeah.
He was super cool.
And then jetted our ass down over to Road Oilers to where we...
Yeah, Josh, I think that was...
his name was Josh.
Yeah.
Yeah, so y'all got that all wrapped up and then jumped on the road to go. Where was the destination in San Diego, or were y'all just passing through?
We were trying to get to Huntington, and then it's just we were adapting to the road. It was just like there were a couple of things we had to make some carburetor adjustments on the road, and then like there was a couple of other things. And then pretty much, I mean, shit, San Diego. I mean, where were we at when we decided to go skip Huntington Beach and go straight to San Diego?
Fuck San Diego. We were in San Diego.
And you called your friend.
We're like, fuck, it's late as fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he called his friend. Was it Jesse?
Jesse.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and his wife.
They were
Cassandra.
rad as fuck too.
So Jesse said no at first, and then I came in and started talking to Cassandra, and she walked me outside. And she's like, "You guys can stay if you want." And I walked me in. She's gonna let us stay. So she just had to check us out first, and see we were cool. But
Yeah, we
yeah,
got
that was
vetted.
super nice of both of them. To let
Yeah,
us
they were
crash.
rad as fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they're still like Jesse's still motorcycle industry guys. Like they were with Dynamic Industries in California, and Jesse's became good friends with us through like Texas Hills, and he would always come down. He's really good friends with Eddie with Hellbent Crew, who we ended up meeting Jesse through all of that, and just that's when the hospitality, that's when the California, to where it's already been a rough road. Like we hit a couple speed bumps with just some poor experiences with hospitality that I won't want to get into, but once we hit California. Boom! That's when it finally it was a warm welcome, and it started with Jesse's house. She didn't even like it when we first went there. We were looking at hotels and stuff, and then we just wanted to go because I wanted to go see Jesse. And then it ended up we melded really well. And then his old lady, his fiance now, was just like they can stay on the couch. And then I think she just wanted to feel us out. And then once she did, and then. We chilled out on their back porch. They didn't mind. We were up till 1 a.m.
Right, they were cool as fuck. I killed that bottle of JMO there. And
So that
out cold.
And then
that was San Diego though, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So did y'all sightsee at all, or was it just like another pass through town?
Oh yeah.
It was a pass through, really.
I mean, we went to all the
Straight
cliffs
down.
and everything.
Yeah, we went.
Yeah.
We went down to the cliffs and stuff, but that was like on the way to Huntington.
Isn't like
Beach.
Tony Stark's house over there somewhere?
From is that Avengers. A comic book character?
Yeah, dude, fucking Avengers movies. That badass.
That's Iron Man.
Robert Downey Jr.?
Yeah. Not his house, but like in the...
where they like filmed the mock-up house?
It's supposed to be like I heard it was like somewhere off the cliffs in north of San Diego, I guess.
Dude, some of those houses, we're from Houston, man. Those houses are nuts.
And you're not nerds like me with comic books. So.
I was looking at the water.
So where'd you go? So then Huntington Beach, that's where your homie was at?
Yeah, that was actually kind of we talked about it, and like there was a part of us all that wanted to like just like cruise up to PC8s and do a bunch of shit on the way there, and then it was like, oh my god, we're getting late, the times. Fuck it, let's just get there and then we can come back later. That's the kind of deal that turned out to be. So we just made a push to his buddy's house. Oh, Sean.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
That's what. So Huntington Beach was the final. We knew that we were going to stay in Huntington Beach for a week. Like that was our final destination. Sean's an old buddy of mine I've known for 10 years.
Yeah.
We've kept one of those friends. We're distances apart, but we keep in touch every month or so.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, we were at the point where we just wanted to bang it out there because then that was our break. So I mean, we just jetted down the PC. That was when we saw the fucking jets. Because that's when the flybys were going down.
Yes.
Oh yeah, all the Blue Angels.
Yeah, and they literally like unexpected.
It was the Thunderbirds. It wasn't the Blue Angels, right?
It was the Thunderbirds.
Right.
So same shit, different branch.
Right.
So, but yeah, they literally just jetted over us and then did another flyby to where we can actually get it on. You got it on.
Yeah. So they like came like from behind us and they did this big swooping deal and they all threw their smoke out and they got pretty low. I know you had said 1,000 foot, but that's what our birds fly in the Gulf just to travel, and those guys were a lot lower. They were a lot lower than 1,000 foot. I'm literally thinking they were like 500 feet easy.
Yeah.
And they came down. They did a nice low swoop and turn right over the highway, right in front of us. And then this other bird comes through, and it's like poof, 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 like dotting the T across.
They were both had smoke trails on them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty wild.
It was really cool.
Yeah, but we had no clue. Everyone else in California knew. And
right.
We were just like, holy shit.
You think you're like walking in some shit you didn't know about? Maybe?
Yeah.
I mean, I knew that the things were going on. Like they were going all over the United States.
Right, yeah. They were doing it all over. They just done it in Houston. Blue Angels did it in Houston. But, I was bummed because I didn't have my video rolling, so I didn't have my camera on. So I'm like, I'm looking up. I'm like trying to, and I did get some cool pictures, but I'm like, fucking picture. I couldn't get the video on fast enough, though.
Yeah.
I tried. But I got a cool video of smoke in the air, but nothing else.
But the biggest, so we get to Huntington Beach, and because I'm curious about it, because Candiie dealt with me and Ricky for a month. And it was just So what, like going? So what would you say?
Wait. Maybe we dealt with her.
I am.
Maybe we dealt with her.
100% certain I could probably build an FXR now.
Yeah, dude, that'll happen on the road.
Yeah.
Because I literally, like, I forgot I fueled. I thought I fueled yesterday. I didn't fuel yesterday, and I could literally see her shoulders just like shrug down when my bike's like bah, 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 and then she just like
He's like,
fucking
I'm out of gas.
again.
I'm like, I know.
That's exactly. You know, when I went on the trip with Mason and Austin from Houston, that was the same thing. I had all kinds of problems with my FXR, and I could tell that everybody else was just over it. You know, Brad.
Now you do realize I'm on the same FXR Mason was on.
Oh, that's yours?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just different tins.
Yeah, because he had the white ones, the white tins. He ended up picking some red ones because there was like rust in the tank or some shit right there.
Yeah, that's why I got rid of it.
No, but he had some white tins.
Yeah, no, I know.
Originally, but he took those off because it was rust in the tank. But it was a really nice tin set.
Yeah,
so he ended up picking up the red ones, is what it was. But I wish he would still get on bikes, man. I love that dude.
Yeah,
I thought he bought another sporty from Todd, from Austin Todd.
Oh, he did.
Oh yeah, he's that blue sporty.
Yeah, he's got one.
we saw
I
him
don't know how much.
I would love to do a podcast with him, with Mason, Todd, and Brad, and just reminisce about that trip and all the shit shows that went down. That's when I lost my axle and all that shit. Not my axle. I lost the nut off my axle.
I was about to say, you're dead. What? But it's like I just ghost floated my rear wheel. No big deal.
we were going to NorCal and doing our normal loop where we go to NorCal and then down to LA and then home. And I think once we got to this place we were camping at, Twin Rivers or something like that, 3 Rivers. It's in like right at the foothills of the Sierras. Mm-hmm. And I was having primary issues again after we've been in the gas stations the whole time. They were like, let's just go down to LA and go see the flat track races instead of continue on this trip with these dudes with this bikes fucking up every time. So they did it nicely. They did it nicely, but they jammed out the other direction just to get away from all the shit show that was going on.
Oh, I tried. I was like, I'll ride home alone. He's like, no, you won't. Fine. So I did try.
But I mean, she was a fucking trooper. Because, I mean, she's on a 2019. Like, the worst thing that happened to her is her battery dies, which it did.
Which it did, because I forgot to turn my bike off.
A couple of 4 times.
Well, we're also all using her shit to charge her shit, and we're throwing stuff in her bags. I was.
Yeah.
Okay.
I do throw like drinks and stuff.
Yeah, I was warned about that bagger life, and they weren't shitting.
Oh, yeah. We put that fucking bagger to work.
Yeah.
Drinks, and
Sure.
I'm a rather large Mexican, so I need food. So occasionally, and I don't have enough room for all the food on my bag, in my bags already. So I gotta.
It's like they have their own little cubby holes in your shit.
They did. They did.
It's like Ricky's food, Ricky's drink, and then Adam's everything.
But next time they don't get food and drinks, they get fucking motorcycle parts is what they get.
Eventually she had to say, no, that's my laptop side. Like, you can't put it on the laptop side.
Yeah, I work on the road, so I'm like, don't put water on that side. My laptop's over there.
Yeah.
So you're able to do quite a bit I saw you were working a lot and you do the home loan things?
I'm a mortgage lender, yeah. So, but I've been in the industry for almost 20 years. I just now went self-employed a year and a half ago, which has allowed me to start traveling again. Yeah. And when I rode to Sturgis in August, I just used my phone, and that was a huge mistake. So now I carry the whole laptop thing too.
Well, having the bagger helps.
Yeah, because I'm all like trying to strap that down to stuff and not break it. Yeah.
That's like, how is it with your job and everything? Like, are you just like, how's that going?
Well, that's a long story.
So are you still employed?
Fetish porn is really easy to take breaks from. Exactly. You know, so the internet fetish porn, he can take as many breaks as he wants.
Yeah, and you get big checks for all that stuff you have to take in, right?
Yeah, I'll put a long story short. Like, I've been a first responder for almost 10 years, and that's working 911 for 10 years.
Yeah.
And, like, I needed a break. Like, I mean, you can ask Candiie, you can ask people that were around me. Like, it was greatly affecting everything around me.
Just
like
the shit you see. And
it gets toxic, and, like, I was super unhappy. Like, it was getting to a point where I wasn't even happy riding my motorcycle. And, like, my best friend Dania was just like, dude, you need to figure something the fuck out. Because that was always my escape. You know, I would go, people that know me knew that I would disappear for 4 fucking days. And then when I would come back, okay, I'm good for 2 or 3 weeks. Yeah. So, I mean, and then it was just getting to the point where that was no longer working. So I pretty much, I mean, there were some differences with my department and everything, just like anything else. I mean, right now, especially with how fucked up everything is, I couldn't have thought of a better decision to make. But I just said, fuck it, and then just kind of canceled it out. And then, you know, all these motorcycle trips started, and that was the most I've ever felt replenished and since I can remember.
Yeah.
It was just like the soul was back into it, and I didn't have the stresses of, do I have to fucking, I just got sick of, there's a lot of politics. Like, I was really good at my job, but like, because I was really good at my job, like now I have to deal with, brass and all this other shit, and it was a solid break. I needed the break, and then this was basically the shining star.
Dude, that's the same thing with me, man. I fucking need a break bad. That's why, finishing my buddy's bike and putting a deadline at finishing the bike because I'm leaving on the following Thursday is like lit a fire for me to get the job done, to do it the quality that I wanted to do. But I know that at the end of this very, very intense bike with all these parts, there's like this rainbow of a fun time
exactly
that I get to have. And I need a bike trip. Dude, I was on the 8th, I was supposed to be going to New York on a bike trip for 2 weeks. We had planned on doing a Big Bend trip all year, just before all the, before like the riding season really kicked in or all the shows kicked in, and everything got canceled except for our shit, and then
that, which was fucking rad.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, good time.
And so like I've been in that boat, man. I've been needing a trip because the last trip I took was Sturgis, and that's almost. I mean, technically it's just shy of like 2 months of a year from a real trip because. We didn't go to Galveston last year for Nitty Gritty or for the Galveston rally. We didn't go to Houston for the Nitty Gritty, and I didn't, because I did SEMA and I did all this other shit, so I couldn't go at least get a 2-hour, 3-hour trip down there. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Oklahoma was cool. It was great, but I mean it's kind of cheating for us because we're only like 180 miles from this spot. You know what I mean? Everybody else got to make it an actual trip for the most part, other than us Dallas folks and shit.
Yeah, you guys got a 2.5 hour ride
up
and north.
Like Tony and Justin, my machinist over there in fucking Arkansas, had probably a shorter ride, from Little Rock over there.
Oh shit!
So, yeah.
Man, I don't know my geography.
But no, dude.
I know we're in the corner in that direction, but I'm not real sure.
Yeah, at least it's not Pennsylvania.
Right.
Yeah. So what? Like basically, you guys got to chill out in Huntington Beach for a week, basically.
Okay, so
fuck was it?
There.
Did you wear it?
Oh man!
Did you wear out your
I want to
welcome?
start these stories out with my buddy Sean. We love you so much. He's a great fucking human, but holy shit! Like we were not prepared for this. How long did we spend in Huntington Beach?
A week.
7 days in Huntington Beach. Like, so we were block and a half from the beach, and
which I saw once.
Well, yeah, and so we get there and. So, God, how do I even go into this? Because the first day, because we went and rode the first. Which one was the day that Sean? We rode with Sean at Candiie State.
The first day we got there.
So it was the first day.
Yeah, because we got there around 1, and we went and ate lunch, and then I was like, "You guys take off and let me work, and do boys things."
Okay.
Oh, yeah, right.
So this was our first. So keep in mind, I haven't seen Sean. 8 years. Mm-hmm. So this was our first, what's the word? I guess idea of how Sean rides.
Yeah.
And so, because at first we were like, okay, because if you can imagine, so we're in Huntington Beach, California. We're doing like 90 miles an hour during roads I've never even fucking been on.
Right.
And what finally triggered me that this dude is crazy is when we went around that fucking turn.
And he fucking throws his ass over the
and
fucking...
he gets up off his bike and throws that shit.
And we're talking about was a Road King with fucking beach cruisers, a police edition deal, and he just fucking throws his ass off to the side and he yanks the bike over as far as it'll go.
Yeah.
And I'm behind him and I'm like, we got no GPS. Neither one of us have GPS going, We don't have any speedos, no tax, no nothing, no information about where we're at or what's in front of us.
Yeah.
And then he just does this and I'm like, oh shit, what are we doing? All throttle ollie, let's get it. Splitting lanes, cars are like, they don't even have time to move out the way, And dude, it was mobbing. We were fucking mobbing.
Through like heavy residential areas. Like if we weren't out in the outskirts of Huntington Beach or like we were literally probably, this was from his house to wherever the fuck we were going. And we got there like, he's going from 70 to 90 miles an hour.
The whole way.
Hauling ass.
Let's just say the next day I rode with them and asked him to tame it down, and I still said I wouldn't ride with him the rest of the week.
Well, yeah, long
and
story.
I love him, but no.
Yeah, super good soul, like
Yeah, he's
great
a great
person.
human.
fucking squirrel. Like,
Oh,
holy
man.
shit. Like, when it comes to riding. So, in our mentality, it's like, I've never been to fucking California. Ricky is more familiar than all of us, I think.
Right. But I mean, I've also had, I'm familiar with the area because I've been there a bunch, but I'm not, I haven't rode around all over the place. You know what I mean? Like, I'm familiar with little, spots, and I go there and I hang out there and then that's like it, Now I'm riding all the little streets and shit in between all these places, putting it all together,
Yeah.
But not, so, not familiar.
Yeah, I feel like in Huntington Beach you can kind of do that quite well, but because when my wife's aunt lives in Venice, and we stay there, and so like you go 3 blocks in the wrong direction, it's like weird, dude. Like to me, I'm pretty good with maps. East, north, south, all that shit. I can kind of understand where I'm at and go, okay, well, I don't know where I'm at, but I know that that's east, and I know that where I'm staying is east, so I'll go that way, and eventually I'll hit a highway that I know what I'm talking about. Dude, we were coming back from Born Free last year. We were going back to Venice to where we were staying. Every rap song I've ever heard in every street. I wasn't scared or anything, but it was just kind of like, man, didn't like shit go down around here? Like it seemed super normal, but it was just kind of crazy, like seeing like, when you're in Cali, they have the highways, and most of us are on the highways until we get to where we want to go. But there's just these massive amounts of fucking streets and neighborhoods and shit that it's just insane.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
We saw our first Dyna Bros. Like, there was a crew of, I don't know what it is about tube socks and red shoes, but
did you see the red shoes on the way here?
Yeah.
I was like,
now
shit, the red shoes are
everywhere.
I saw those totally.
Like, I want to invest in red fucking shoes because everyone on a Dyna, lane splitter helmet, tube socks, red shoes.
Yep.
Like, every single one. And some of them were in like groups of like 5 or 6, all blacked out Dynas, and then tube socks, red shoes, maybe different colored tube socks, but either khakis or like shorts, but it was just very uniformed. Like, it was just like everyone had red shoes. Like, and
it was definitely
And
uniform.
no custom bikes. We didn't see any custom bikes.
Carl's bad.
Carl's bad, yeah.
I saw one pass right in front of the apartment. Just the one, though.
One? I haven't seen. Yeah.
Just the one.
Yeah, well, biking out there is way not. There's a lot of custom bikes out there, but I mean, there's also a shit ton of bikes. So it's
way more recreational.
Yeah,
Like,
people ride to commute a lot more out there than I think they do in Texas. So
yeah, there was a lot of CVOs, a lot of just you're pretty much stage one.
What's funny though is like if you work in an office, you have to wear a suit, but then as soon as you go change into your Dyna Bro outfit to get on the bike, it's like. That would be kind of cool. I'd be like, that's a little flex, but okay.
Well, that was the first, and we don't have that shit in Houston, man. Like, if that was the first time where you see the image that you see in social media, like it was the first time where I'm like, oh, so this is what they fucking do, and usually I thought, because if you look at a picture, you don't associate it to real life. It's just like, okay, that's a great professional picture or whatever. It was either staged or whatever because, nowadays. But like seeing it in the wild, like, holy shit, these guys do put on the same clothes and then all meet up at the same spot and then fucking shine their red shoes and then go mob around PCH all day. Like, it was very much the lifestyle that I was.
I got to say, when I was up in North, so I just spent 13 and a half months working just off the coast of Santa Barbara. So, and we also stayed, inland to do a plant. And when I was up there, I did see a lot more custom bikes up north than I did down where we were at.
What do you mean up north? Like what part?
Like Santa Barbara area.
Okay, so yeah.
No, I guess
that's
technically it's central. Technically it's central, but it's way colder up there than it is. And, so as far as I'm concerned, the colder it gets, the more north I am.
Yeah. Well, I know NorCal itself. NorCal's got a lot of custom bikes. I mean, that's where we were going to paint bikes. And do
like your Tweeka and stuff.
Yeah. No, like the Bay Area, basically. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
But like
NorCal. That's NorCal.
You're more Central Cal is what that would be.
Well, your Tweeka is like NorCal. That's like way at the top.
Wait.
Humboldt County.
Oh, I don't know that. Dude, my fucking
my
north stops in Sacramento, and then
right, yeah. That's definitely NorCal, but then there's no NorCal.
Yeah. Well, I think they just consider all that to be Oregon.
Yeah, right.
Redding and all that stuff.
I got to do some work out there with our buddy Tommy Boudin for a few months.
Yeah.
Worked on an 80-acre grow out there.
Well, I know a lot of dudes in the Ventura area that have custom bikes. You know what I mean? Like a lot of good friends that are in that area that all have really nice bikes. Maybe not custom painted bikes. I have a custom painted bike that I did for a friend there, but I know there's a lot of really nice FXRs. I mean, the Ventura is like one of the FXR hubs for America of like some of the raddest dudes and stuff, you know.
Right.
Like Arnell that does that, the M units and all that stuff. He's out there, and you know, my buddy Victor, old John Teller himself, is up there. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of cool dudes in that area.
Yeah.
Dylan and all them.
I mean, you got everything over there in NorCal.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
Well, not
everything.
NorCal, it's Ventura. That's
Ventura is still central.
pretty much anything lower than Santa Barbara, Barbacoa.
Yeah, orale. That's hard to find in California, by the way.
Yeah.
Tri-tip all day, but no
I
barbacoa.
could be wrong, and I'm sure someone will correct me, but I want to say like everything below that mountain range is pretty much SoCal. So Santa Barbara is kind of like that last city before you cross the mountains into like San Luis Obispo and Pismo Beach and stuff. That's considered the Central Valley or the central part of California. Those mountains south is SoCal. And then once you get to like the Bay Area, then that's considered NorCal.
Oh, okay. See, I thought Santa Barbara was all part of Central as well.
It might be part. Yeah. I mean, but I want to say that the grapevine basically is what separates.
Right.
So.
I was just ignorant because someone would be like, "Oh, I'm up here," and I'm like, "Oh, cool. Is that like what, 2 or 3 hours away? 7 fucking hours?" Because I didn't know California. It's like, oh yeah, it's like the whole entire west fucking coast.
Yeah,
dude.
I told them, I said, man, like I want to go meet one of my buddies up because I know we can probably go check out a big ass grow while we're there. But I was like, you guys probably don't want to ride there though. And they're like, no, yeah, we're down. And I showed them the map, and it's like 11 hours away, and they're like, nope. I mean, California's a big motherfucker too. It's just big the other way.
Well, I mean, dude, if you ride PCH from Santa Barbara to hell, Monterey is going to take you 10 hours. You know what I mean?
But I mean, that is the reason. I mean, it didn't strike, like Candiie knew the entire time what we were about to experience in California. I had no idea. It's my first time in California. I mean, Ricky, you had a pretty good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, but your bike was down for how long while you were there?
A day.
That's it?
Just a day. Yeah, we borrowed a tank.
Yeah, I got a Land Speed Motorcycle Shop.
Yeah.
Brought a loaner tank that I just
that's
plugged.
fucking cool.
Yeah, I just put that in and just, because I had a vented gas cap, so I just fucking stuck it on there, and I didn't have a Speedo or anything anyway. So
yeah, that's cool.
Was that allowed you to get over to Orion's in Santa Barbara and...
Yes.
Well, Ryan's was the next day after we experienced Sean, and then we went over. Well, the ride with Sean. Then the next day was when he took us out, and then that's when we toured. That's when we went to Ryan's the first in the morning, and then after that was the second day.
Oh yeah, that was when we just went to go shoot the shit the first time we went to go shoot the shit. Right.
So what as far as the riding in California, what did you enjoy the most?
The fact there were no cars on the road. This COVID thing was like, because I was expecting regular traffic, and we were flying. We made it to Santa Barbara from Huntington Beach in 2 hours. I mean, we were flying, and without having to split lanes.
Just stay on 101 all the way, or did y'all take the PCH?
I don't know. I just saw the numbers.
We stayed on 101 most of the way.
Okay.
But yeah, so I was, the only reason I even agreed to this is I knew everybody was going to be in lockdown. I've been to California enough to know that I probably didn't want to ride motorcycles there.
I love it. Dude, the whole lane splitting thing is fucking
it's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
It's so great to do something that's illegal here, there, and everybody kind of, I mean, for the most part, everybody gets out of the way. There's always going to be like one dude.
And once I noticed that, I was okay, but this is my first time on a bagger too, and I was like, oh man. You know? I'm like, am I going to make it? But I noticed people parted ways and stuff, so it's cool.
And a lot of times you'll try to split, not in the fastest lane, but in between the far left lane and the next one over. Mm-hmm. And sometimes there's that HOV thing right there too. So, or like the HOV, high occupancy. That's too much words to put in once. high occupancy vehicle thing, right? So the lanes, it's got that wider strip right there, so you can kind of go down that for a lot of times and be good. But,
I mean, we took him to Sunset, and it was a ghost town on Sunset Boulevard.
Oh, that'd be
what
crazy.
Was the Vista Cliffs?
Not even a human.
What was that one with all the big houses and shit?
Palo Verdes.
That was my favorite. Going over those cliffs and everything.
Right, so it would have been more
Where was that
awesome
at, though?
if they didn't put those stupid stoplights and stop signs at the end of all those great fucking turns.
Well, that was Sunset Boulevard.
That's what I'm saying. If you take Sunset Boulevard, if you continue down it, it'll take you through Bel Air and dump you out on PCH. I think
that's what we did.
That's what we did.
That was part of one of them.
Yep.
But we started off at that Palo Verdes or whatever. I'm not sure how to say it, but I think it's something like that. And then brought us up to the Sunset Boulevard, and then we turned around and went back down to what did you say?
Venice?
PCH?
No. Yeah.
Like Bel Air and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Right. And then he took us
Those
back
are fun
up.
streets.
Then he took us back up way far out of the way.
Yeah.
Fucking all missed it up, couldn't see shit.
Yeah. But keep in mind, we just did Sunset Boulevard in its entirety with no traffic.
Not a soul.
That'd be
and
fun.
that is a
Cool.
fucked up road with no traffic.
Well, we took a left on there instead of, if we would have taken a right and made a U-turn, then we would have done its entirety because I went back and did it.
Yeah, because you did the strip and everything.
Yeah. I went back. I was like, I got to go see the rest of it.
Well,
It kind of, I want to say it starts around like the Echo Park area, which is pretty cool. But like I've ridden it from, I think Echo Park. I could be wrong in where it starts. But the first time I ever had a bike there back in like 2011, I was on a Sporty. We trailered the bikes out there for a big lowrider show. And the shops I was working at let us, me and the guy that worked for me, take our bike. So we got to go rip around LA for the first time. And I rode the whole thing with the Sportster. It was pretty dope.
Nice.
yeah, it is badass. It's just how the fucking stoplights are set up. Because since there's no traffic, I mean, you're bearing yourself into a turn, like you're like fucking right, and then you're going into it, and then stoplight, and then so it's pretty much like and then you skirt the whole entire way to the stoplight. And
They
then
probably do that because people mob through that shit. You know what I
maybe,
mean?
or you're not meant to drive without traffic.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know what the...
So, did y'all actually do any of the rides? Like, did y'all go through Angel's Crest? Did you go do the Santa Monica Mountains? Like,
I think we
there's a
did.
pass that's pretty badass to ride over.
I think we did.
I did some of that.
I did
had a
Mulholland.
birthday, Yeah.
Mulholland's cool, yeah.
Well, Sean took us to a bunch of
But
places.
again, that's another one you got to be real careful on because there's driveways all over the place.
Yeah,
They're out of
yeah.
nowhere. All of a sudden, there's a car backing out. You're like, fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't paying
Yeah.
attention to what it was called. Sean took us to a bunch of places. Like, I just don't remember it. Like, if you tell me like what the fucking 405, 30, like I'm just seeing them as numbers.
I know that I wanted to do the 33 and 0 high. I know I wanted to do that. I think it's the 33 and 0 high.
Yeah, I heard that was good.
We okay. So when we were over at Ryan's place and I was we were doing the collars on our push rods. Well, we got stuck, there for a little while.
This was a fucking trip.
Yeah. So, but at that point, I had like 5 buddies that were tooling around the whole area when we were in Long Beach, and they were trying to hook up with us, and that's where we were supposed to ride. So I missed that. But the collar.
Y'all go through Long Beach? Y'all see did you see Oliver and all them? The cut rate?
Yes, we
Yeah.
did.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
what
that's like when I said with hospitality, like that's like Ryan was just holy shit.
Yeah.
Ryan's fucking
Ryan
amazing.
Yeah.
That dude's
smells.
badass.
He's
Like
really cool
he's
dude,
known us forever
for
and
sure.
opened his doors and like we took one of his lifts like
Yeah,
almost all
motherfucker
day.
cracked.
Yeah, Ryan.
Because-
Right,
Yeah.
That motherfucker cracks me up.
Yeah.
He quickly made one of my top 5 people list. Yeah, he's
Nice.
fun.
He's
a
out of,
fun
is he out of
dude.
Long
Long
Beach?
Beach.
as well?
Yeah, he's at Long Beach.
And he's just a genuine person. Like,
Yeah.
you can tell. He's a
Well,
really
I've
cool
been following
person.
that guy for years on Facebook, and then when I got, it's one of those things you're like, you don't know, is this guy going to be as cool as you think he is? He turned out to be way more rad than that. That guy was fucking awesome,
Yeah.
man. He's a good dude.
Yeah, he's super impressive.
Yeah.
But Oliver is super smart. It was really intense listening to him.
Not to say that
Yeah.
Ryan's not. But, but Oliver did have some mind-melting conversations.
Yeah.
Yeah, trust me. The
Dude.
first time I met Oliver was when we did the first podcast we did with him, and I never wanted that one to end because he's lived such a crazy life and he's figured shit out in a way that's very inspiring to listen to that dude talk.
Yeah,
He made
it's like that dude's mind jumps out of his head and then comes over here and then tells him what he's got to do and then jumps back in there and then fucking does some shit. He's got some mind melting shit happening.
Built his own box. Like,
Yeah,
that's
he's
good.
built his
Oh,
own box.
shit.
Yeah, that guy's impressive as fuck. I like
Yeah.
him a lot too. And I mean, again, with the hospitality
Yeah.
stuff, it was just boom, boom, boom down the road. You got these guys that are just rad as fuck. Don't know us from shit. And they're like, hey, come on in. Yeah, we'll talk. We'll shoot the shit for hours. Fuck it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They
Hang
probably
out,
also, a lot of them have been like on lockdown in a kind of way too. So they're probably like,
Yeah.
human interaction is much
Right.
needed in that part of
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, they're like, oh, another human.
But like with Ryan, like we took his lift up for almost 2 days. I mean,
Yeah, for 2 days. We did
yeah,
that for 2 days.
for 2 days. Yeah. Because he didn't have any bolt cutters, and that starts with Ricky's 91 story about
Right. So I had hit some spot in Long Beach, Huntington Beach, and picked up some rods. Well, I didn't really check it out, but I was like, oh yeah, they'll work. So cool. Set it on the label. I was like, good enough for me. Boom, rolled on. We get over there and I'm like, oh, you got any bolt cutters? And he's like, no, I got a grinder. I'm like, oh shit, fuck it. Taped a bunch of shit up and went to work with the grinder. So
we are
definitely
so
not the-
sorry, Mark.
I've done that before.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But- and as you know, that's not the way to do it. But if you got everything covered up, fuck it, right? So, and that's what I did. Went to town. So then I go to put the rod in there, and you know they're all sitting there off to the back of the bike here, and I'm sitting there right there trying to get this really long motherfucker in there because it was a drop in, not a collapsible rod. And
So why'd you cut the other ones out then?
I only cut the one out.
Oh, you just replaced. Well,
No, I was putting the collars that we got from Ryan McQuiston, the little wings and wheels on there.
He was installing adjustable push rods.
Right. So
okay. So I was gonna say, yeah.
Right.
I thought he was putting non-adjustables. Then I was like, dude,
No. Yeah, no. I was putting in adjustable rods. I was getting rid of the non-adjustable rods so I could put those collars on. And I was like, oh shit, this is the wrong shit. And I'm like, I don't want to look over there and tell anybody. You know what I mean? I'm like,
I was watching this whole thing, and he was super quiet. Like, he needed help, but he would whisper it. He was like, guys, and I'm laughing.
She's watching it, and I'm like, oh fuck, I don't want to say it. You know, and I'm not a quiet guy, but I was like,
No, but he was like,
hey guys. Maybe if they don't hear me, it never happens.
So funny.
it was hilarious.
But yeah, what spawned out of that was just
So then, you know, Ryan starts making phone calls, and you know, all these badass freaking legends from all across the area just are getting, you know, rang up. And then he gets to go over to was it Fast Eddie's?
Yeah, like with Jim's Fast Eddie's. Like go to his house because he was we were looking for the S&S adjustable push rods because what the problem was, he had an 11.5-inch push rods that wouldn't fit. So that we would have to top load it. We weren't pulling that top in at all.
Right.
Yeah.
They were drop-ins instead of the collapsible.
And he was just calling literally all these guys from Long Beach. Like, he got S&S adjustable push rods. And then, so what ended up hitting was Fast Eddie, like the Fast Eddie. And and I'm just ignorant. Like, cool, I'll go over to this guy's house. I'm not connecting the dots because we're just Houston boys, you know? Like, we're just out on a fucking motorcycle trip. Yeah. Like, I'm not connecting any of this shit.
Right, we're just thinking normal everyday dudes, and he walks in and it's the dude who freaking makes the Jim's tools, designs and freaking, you know.
Yeah, and the way I go back there, because Sean goes with us, and like Sean's one of those guys to where like a 10-minute trip will turn into like a 2-hour trip.
Because he carries a 3-foot bong everywhere he goes, and he's got to hit it.
Yes.
He's got to hit it every 30 minutes. You know what I mean? You're like, we're 45 minutes away. He's gonna pull over in 30 minutes to fucking crack it out, pour some water in his shit. You know, fucking do this whole shocker thing or whatever it's called.
With his bike, like keeps it in his saddlebag, has a case for his fucking like 2-foot bong.
It's like tobacco, fucking weed, wax, and then I don't know, chili peppers, and then fucking he lights it up and takes a bong rip, you know?
Yeah. So I go with him, and Sean comes along, and so we get over to the house. We got the GPS and everything, and no one's out front or anything. So I start walking up to the front door, and then this random black guy comes over. I think he was delivering something, and he's just like, "Hey, yo, just walk around back." So I'm like, "Okay, great. I'm just gonna walk around back at this guy's house that doesn't know me for nothing." So I walk around back. He's just go in the shed. He's like yelling from the front yard, and so I go into the shed, and it's like just 1960s, 1970s machine shop, like everything pristine. But when you look up, there's motorcycle memorabilia all over the roof, and you can just tell that there's history in this building. And then there's fucking Fast Eddie with like a line of push rods because I guess he pushed all of his push rods and checked to see which one it was. And and then finally he's just like, "Make sure you call your buddy. You make sure this shit's right." I'm like, "Okay," you know. So I fucking call Ricky, and we're measuring shit, and it's 9.5s and blah 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 blah. I'm like, "Cool." So we start small talking after that, and it comes up that we're on a road trip from Houston, and he's like, "Okay, cool," and he's kind of blowing me off. And then I'm like, "No, we're from Houston. We rode 2 FXRs. Like we rode a 99 or a 91 and a 2000." And then it was coolest thing ever because Fast Eddie's eyes just lit up. He was like, "You did what?" We're like, "Yeah, we rode it from fucking Houston. Like I turned it into a flamethrower outside of Tucson. Like it was gnarly." Like, and he's just like, and then it's just eyes lit up, and he's like, "Okay, cool." And he started saying, "It's like, yeah, I dabble in FXRs, and that guy's built countless amunts."
Yeah.
And then I'm like, "Yeah." Then I'm like, "You want to check it out?" And then like a schoolboy, you know, like, "Oh yeah, fuck yeah, I do." And then we sat outside, and just keep in mind I have an old loaner tank on this thing, so it's like, and this is Fast Eddie checking out my shit, and then still just saw it as like someone rolling up.
Yeah.
Yeah, just still.
I gotta pee anyway. I go see who it is, but
yeah,
keep talking.
So
story. I'll listen to it whenever I get.
I got you. So he still basically was super intrigued and just started telling me stories about all the years of FXRs he built, and just that he built one for Brad Pitt that was $250,000 or whatever, and Sean's over there pretty sure he's loading his bong.
Wait, so Brad Pitt got an FXR, or he just built him a bike?
He built him an FXR. Fast Eddie did.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah. And then Sean is also, while me and Fast Eddie are talking, pulling the bong out of his fucking motorcycle because he knows that we're leaving. So I'm just like, fuck, it's been like
30 fucking 29 minutes. I better hurry up.
Yeah. And so I'm like, shit, because in my mind, I'm like, dude, I know they're going to think we're going to take forever. And then but luckily he was Fast Eddie was like, no, man, you guys go and hang out. And they're like, this is a bitching bike. And I'm just like, oh, and I'm nerding out because Fast Eddie just called my fucking bike bitching. And then Sean's over there like fucking going crazy. And then so we're like, okay, we fucking go. And then we pull the push rods. We get the push rods back. We think mission successful. And then rigging.
Bro, that was so bad though. Because when I sat there putting those fucking push rods in, because I was like, all right, got them. I want to haul ass. You know what I mean? Like I'm like, all right, good. I got to make this happen fast. We've already taken way too long. I'm feeling like a jackass right now. Taking up all this time on his lift. Boom! I sit right down to it. I start going to work. And when I started unscrewing it, I was like, all right, cool, goes in nice and easy, right? That's what it's supposed to do. Start unscrewing that motherfucker and separation. Yeah. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me right now? Like, I don't want to say shit. Like, I keep sticking it back together. I'm like, come on, get longer. Like, that motherfucker's not going to get longer. It's not going to stick back together. Yeah. It's just going to be what it is. So I don't know if you caught me that time.
No, I wasn't there the second day.
Okay, that's right. Yeah. So I didn't want to say shit again. Like I was like, fuck, here we go. I gotta say this again. Like I gotta say this again. First it was too long, now it's too short. Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah. We got a little guest coming.
And then you're like poking your fucking head around the motorcycle, like, what should I say? Should I fucking dig into it? Wait, what's going on?
Hello.
She just rode here from California.
Hola.
Hey, coincidence.
Right.
We're talking about California.
She was wanting.
Yeah.
This one's brand new.
Yeah, that one's not open yet. So, but like,
what did I miss?
Well, we're on
his second round of push rods.
So we're on the second round, and so imagine Ricky at his bike. And then so we're in front of the lift all talking, and he's like poking out between the rear tire, like, and you could tell he's like, I don't know how to say this.
So the push rods he picked up from Fast Eddie, right?
Yeah.
They're too short, right? So I go sticking in there. I'm like, all right, cool. Right, I got the right.
So when you did the flats out, it was like gone.
Bro, yeah. I started opening it up and then bloop, separated.
Too short.
And I was like, oh fuck, it's too short. I gotta say this again. I gotta tell them we're wrong again.
Yeah.
Like fuck.
And keep in mind, he sawed off his fucking push rod, so it's like
that thing is gone.
Yeah,
so you got to replace it basically.
Yeah, yeah. If I'm going anywhere, it's got to happen. There is no nothing.
Dude, you're in LA though, dude. You're gonna find another push rod.
And we did.
Yeah.
We picked him up the next morning. Man.
Where'd you pick that up at? You remember the shop
man, I can't remember the guy's name, but I know he works for Chopper Dave. Chopper Dave works at his shop. Does work at his shop. I can't remember.
Like Hogs.
Coda? Was it Hogston? Oh man,
Like
I'm a jackass. I can't remember.
Sucks. Fuck. So how long did you end up staying there before you got back on the road to head home? Was it just
7 days? And this was like 7 days of like every day was something different.
Shit show basically.
Yeah, it was 7 days of shit shows. Like we learned about what a popper was. Of course, the wonderful Sean.
That's the bong rib I was telling you about. That he learned from some teenagers in a parking lot somewhere.
Yeah, that he met in an alley.
Yeah.
So yeah, that said, hey, and then so it's pretty much like what he'll do is it's called a popper because it's a one hit kill. So pretty much, so you load it with American Spirits tobacco, and we're talking about not just weed, like high grade weed. Like this guy, like he was telling me about him, he bought a $500,000 home just selling weed. Like he's just your normal dealer. And so this is high grade, and then right over that, he'll either do wax or shatter. And then we're talking about every hour.
Both.
And then just take a lighter to it, do the whole entire thing, blow it all out, and then it's just, okay, we're good. And that's the equivalent of like two blunts at a time.
It's like all day long, dude. Just bong rip, bong rip, bong rip.
He's living in a different world than we do. He's in another
different
dimension.
galaxy.
Yeah, he's in another dimension.
Yeah. And then
time is not part of that dimension.
No.
So his neighbor did commercials.
Yeah.
So Jack and did a Mercedes commercial. You ever see the Mercedes commercial to where like it's the one to where get the fuck out of the way? Like if you see so and so a car, get the fuck out of the way or something.
I don't.
Do you remember?
Anyway, well, I tell you, there's one you will remember. It was an old jeans commercial. I think it was Lee or Levi's or some shit. And there's a girl. It's all black and white, and she like runs onto a ferry, and she's standing there, and this guy, she dropped something before she got on the ferry, and this guy's running after her, brings it over, and he goes, "You dropped this, some stupid thing, but it's about jeans." You know, like it was like from the 80s or 90s or something like that, you know, but it had nothing to do with jeans. The commercial had nothing to do with jeans.
That's the basis for Dumb and Dumber.
Right.
Yeah, unless it was a Super Bowl commercial, I ain't gonna remember shit.
Yeah. Wait, if you saw it,
Or it was
when he showed it to me, I was like, well, fuck, I remember that fucking thing. But it's like it's like from your childhood. You know what I mean? Like,
what? So when y'all left there, y'all beeline it straight to Phoenix, or how'd that go?
Shit. No, because what the fuck? Because we stayed an extra day. Because we were supposed to go to Las Vegas, and we were going to do Las Vegas and then go down to Route 66 all the way back. And then we ended up staying an extra day. Something went down. I think just vibes were good. Because my bike was done. We were just procrastinating because I didn't feel like working on it.
No,
Well,
your
I
bike
had a
wasn't
closing
done.
on Thursday, and we got the extra day because my client pushed their closing till Friday, and that was the
No,
day.
but your tank wasn't on.
Yeah, his tank.
My tank was on.
Because that's the day we drove. The extra day we stayed is when we went to cut rate.
But I was still fucking around with that Intellitronics, and I had to put an inline fuel filter on. So I was doing all of that.
Yeah, but we came after cut rate. We came back and worked on your bike at night.
Yes.
So.
Oh, that's because your fuel line was pinched or something. You had to take your tank back off.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, because I had to zip tie that shit.
Right,
I told you I can build one now.
Right. So, because that day was shot anyway, no matter what, because you would have been working on the bike. So we're like, fuck it. And that's when we took advantage of that time. I went and go talk to the dude to Oliver at Cut Rate. And something else. We did something else that day.
Well, I mean, we stopped by Land Speed because they're the ones who hooked us up with a tank. But Tony ended up coming over and fucking kicking it in the van.
Yeah, that dude's
Tony
rad
and
as
his
fuck,
old
too.
lady. Yeah, it's just to where just the hospitality in California was just fucking awesome.
Yes.
Like, I mean, Tucson was cool. Just Tucson's got some bad juju in it. I don't know what's about it because when we were coming back,
Wilcox got some bad
Wilcox got some fucking bad shit. Because on the way, so basically, like we were gonna go up to Phoenix and everything, or to Vegas and then do all that, and but we stayed an extra day because vibes were good, and we actually had a really good time that second day. And
you wouldn't have really got to enjoy Vegas at all with everything being shut down and stuff, though.
no,
I
don't want to go to the
I wanted
Grand
see
Canyon.
the Grand Canyon, but I can do that this
All I
week.
need them to do is have the lights on. I don't need to stop nowhere. And let me see the lights and then I'll cruise through that and I'll shag ass. I'm good with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we just beelined it straight to Phoenix. I'm trying to remember what the whole anything happening between Phoenix. I feel like every single gas stop was something new.
Oh, this was my turn.
Yes.
Oh
This
yeah,
was
it was
my
your
turn.
You wrote it.
Yeah. So
I was
all,
gonna call this thing road trip, but it's like how to build an FXR.
yeah.
Yes, it is.
So on the way there was his he was having carburetor issues. His ignition blew up,
Yeah.
and then on the way back, what the fuck was my problems? I had to.
Well,
Well,
you
the biggest
you
thing-
ran out of gas like a mile from the Arizona line. So Arizona got him
Oh no!
on the way in
That's
from
what it was.
Texas.
My coil wire came
Yeah, your
off.
coil wire came
but
out.
because he'd been having so many problems with the
that's
carburetor.
push shit.
Yeah.
That's when I
That's
called
right.
them. I videoed them.
Yeah.
God
pushing
damn,
each
you
other.
talk about a puckered butthole.
Yeah.
Like,
Again
holy
with the 18
shit.
wheelers blasting by you 85, 90 miles an hour, 3 feet from you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we're
Did
like,
did that method work? That whole 21 days in the sky method work?
it worked.
It worked.
It did.
I
Yeah.
videoed it.
I mean, it'll do. Yeah.
How far did y'all go doing it?
About a mile.
About a mile.
Yeah, it was about a mile.
Not
Oh,
too
yeah,
far.
yeah.
Once you feather that clutch good, but it's just like it was a crash course.
There was a little learning curve, but it didn't take very long. I mean, when
Yeah.
we did figure out real quick that you can't start off.
you
with-
gotta get like a
Yeah,
running start.
Yeah. Because he tried to do that, and we're like, "Whoa, shit! Well, that ain't
Yeah.
working." So I
Yeah.
tried to like.
Video of them teetering. I sent him, and I have a video of him pushing. But the video I didn't post is I don't have a phone mount, so I'm like trying to drive my bike, video them, and I drop my phone. You hear me go fuck, and then you hear me because I can't reach my clutch. My bike goes. Fuck. I was like, they're gonna kill me if I hurt myself. So it was all.
It would be their
comedy.
fault though.
Yeah.
But I got him on video.
damn
That's all that
it, it would
matters.
I was getting ready to try to
So
plaster.
you ran out of gas in Blythe?
What? No, it was.
Yeah, it was.
Well, his
close to the
ignition.
Yeah, it was actually
Yeah.
my power to my coil popped off. Now, as soon as I took it off, I knew exactly what it was because that wire was really short to begin with. I should have made that wire longer, and I was like, I should make this wire longer, and I didn't, and then I paid for it later, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so as soon as I got that nice little big gap, I was like, I knew exactly what it was because I should have. When I pulled that coil off, it should have just barely moved. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Because that wire should have held it in place. But when I pulled it off and it fell away freaking 5 inches, I was like, oh yeah, I know exactly what that is.
And then Candy's just sitting here with a perfectly operational 2019 Road King.
I'm just like, ugh.
And from that point on, it was a nice quick fix. But of course, first I had to take apart the carburetor.
Yeah.
because
We sat at that gas
my
station
wire was
for 2
off.
hours.
Because like I said,
Well, we
he'd
thought
have-
it was a fuel issue.
right.
And it
right.
was Memorial Day, or was it? It was some holiday, so everything was closed too.
Oh, it was
so-
Memorial Day.
Yeah,
It was
I
Memorial
said-
Day. It was Monday.
Right.
Monday last week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. So when, because he'd had so many problems with his carburetor, we're like, oh, it's got to be fuel. It's a fuel issue. It's a fuel issue. So I immediately go into inspecting this carburetor, tearing it apart, taking a look. I opened up the whole fucking thing and I'm like, all right, well, that looks good.
Is this where
Yeah.
you said I'm just gonna go ahead and go home?
Yeah.
She was. You can tell it was just the shoulder side.
Yeah. The defeat was real.
Yeah. Here's
So I
the
just
next
laid down
couple
to sleep.
hours.
Yeah, 2 hours there. I'm convinced Arizona doesn't like FXRs because it got
God,
him on the
fuck
way in from
that
Texas
shit.
and him on the way in from California.
And I refused
So-
to go on the westbound side of Wilcox. Like I was not. I was like, fuck
Yeah.
that shit. I'm not going over there. Like I stay on the right bound
And
side.
before we left, he's like, I'm going to retire in Tucson. I love Tucson. Now he's like, fuck that.
Fuck this shit. Yeah. Like 90 miles an hour jetting through that. I'm like, we ain't gas stopping in Tucson. We're stopping 20 miles outside of Tucson,
Yeah.
passing that bitch
From
up.
now on, we
But-
go to Tijuana and San Diego by way of Colorado.
Way around.
Yeah.
So y'all ended up making it that day though. For
Yeah,
sure.
and then he fucking ramped a barrier.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And now we need tires.
Yeah, so that's
Right.
yeah.
Now we need tires.
It was one after another, man.
Remind me never to travel with you.
I'm telling you.
Hey.
In all my years of riding, this is the toughest trip I've ever had.
And
Hey.
you when you rode the Sturgis last year, did you
I
do
rode
it
by myself.
By yourself?
Yeah.
Hey, so I Oklahoma, back to Houston, to Huntington Beach, and almost to New Mexico. I did all right.
Yeah.
But when we were in right before Phoenix, right, is when it happened.
We were like 10 miles from fucking our destination. So
Right,
we ran
right.
That bitch over.
So, and I didn't even see it in the road until it was like a split second, before I hit the motherfucker.
What'd you
It
hit?
was a
What was
base to a construction barrel.
Oh, the black thing?
Yeah,
Oh,
the black, and when I hit it, like there was a little moment in time there when neither tire was touching the ground, and we were doing 85. It's like boop, and I'm like,
So
butthole
did it fuck the
fucker.
tires up?
Yep.
It fucked my tires up. Yeah,
Yeah,
both of them.
to the point we needed it cracked through the tread. So that's
so
what
I
we
had to get a new.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that where y'all went to Ramjet or?
Yep.
Yep.
Yes.
We did FXR Division first, and then he didn't have the tire, so we called Ramjet, and we went over.
So did you see the new spot at FXR?
And it's fucking dope.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've only seen it from the outside. I haven't been in yet. 'Cause
Yeah.
When I went there, they were still doing permits to try to get the fucking place.
Right,
But
right.
how'd y'all like Ramjet? It's pretty dope, huh?
Super
Literally every fucking thing you can
Yeah.
imagine. Like you can
Yeah,
build a bike
like-
inside of that fucking store.
Like that's the way all stores should be.
Exactly.
Like,
Well,
Yeah.
y'all motherfuckers stop buying online. Well, they can do it. I say y'all motherfuckers like here
well,
as I'm buying shit online too.
Right,
Myself.
right. Well, but if there were stores like that in your neighborhood, you wouldn't have to go buy online. I prefer not to buy online. I prefer to.
It's being really great friends with Tony. It's a blessing and a curse in its own to keep that much stuff in stock. I mean, you're talking about $1 million in inventory.
Yeah, that's a
and,
huge
and,
overhead.
And a company,
Right.
in companies that I wouldn't say they don't do $1 million in sales, but it's really tough to keep that much inventory in stock. I mean, you literally have money sitting on a shelf, a set of Lindahl wheels, a set of $5,000 wheels sitting on a shelf, hoping that that's the finish you want with the rotors. Like, it's a lot
Right.
to do that stuff,
Yeah, really.
But at the same time, that shop's dope. The whole place is dope. The FXR division, I haven't seen the new spot yet though. So how'd y'all like that?
It's a 3-stage setup. Like they got it pretty much to where you have your prep areas, you have your dirty room, clean room. Like it's literally set. I mean, they're gonna start pushing out.
It'll be
some
a one-stop
fucking
shop
shit.
for.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, you got Torch, you got V-Twin Visionary, and you got FXR Divisional in there. So I mean, just seeing it, the whole setup is going to be awesome for the not only for the FXR community, but just for motorcycles in general.
Yeah.
Because they're going to start pushing out way more parts. There's going to be way more availability of stuff, and then you kind of have everything there.
I feel what they're doing right now is they're trying to make a new foundry is what they're doing.
Yeah, pretty much. Like I mean,
But not the crazy stories that I've heard about the foundry. But there probably won't be that going on. But the
Yeah.
concept is still there. You know what
I mean, it's all business inside there. Like the
Yeah.
way they have it built, it's all business. It's all they got it pretty much thought out and set up, and it was
Yeah.
pretty rad.
Yeah, it was definitely rad.
So any place else you'll stop in Phoenix or what?
After Ramjet, I mean, the cool story about where, because a homie of mine that we stayed at with that night, was someone I met at Punk Rock Bowling that I've seen for the past 2 years.
I think you said something about that.
Yeah, a big music festival. And so he opened our house to us. But what was the coolest thing is this guy named Daryl that I actually went to high school with. Like, I haven't seen him since fucking high school. Has been following the trip on
in
the
Illinois.
Yeah.
Wow.
Has been following the trip on the FXR page and just hit us up. He's like, if you guys are rolling through Phoenix, let me know. And then I was like, yeah, we're rolling through right now. And then ended up riding his bike to go and ordered buffalo wings and like literally paid for our whole entire dinner that night.
Nice.
And came and hung out with us. Yeah, which was the fucking because we weren't too heavy roadworthy, but holy shit, to sit down and eat buffalo wings like that trip. I think was 300. I think we're only 400 miles deep from.
Yeah,
Huntington
that
Beach.
wasn't a long run. That's for
Yeah.
sure. We had a. But I mean, you know, well, was that tires was the next day, right?
Yeah, so we got his tire put on, and then that's when the jam started. So that's when it
Y'all
was
just
just like
booked it home, right?
we need to book it home. We had a schedule to meet with that, and then so that was when we figured out there's not a great idea to roll through 2 states that are deserts and short sleeves because holy shit balls, like by the time we got to New Mexico, I was dying. Like I was just like
so
dragging. I mean, I drank a gallon of water, and then I haven't pissed, but
Dude,
like that morning.
I usually don't wear flannels much, like the Dixons and stuff. But when I go on trips, I wear the fuck out of them. 100 degrees, 150, it doesn't fucking matter. That shit, keeping that sun off your skin. It's like that.
Well, I just wear thin pearl snaps is what I wear. You know, yeah.
Well, I think that, I mean, anything that keeps the sun from touching your skin is the main
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Because like I said, that one year, it was June, we left Born Free 10, I believe, so 17, when it was like 120 degrees in Joshua Tree. And we were riding through that shit, and I'm sorry for my listeners, I say this all the time, but it was literally like taking a hairdryer and just sticking it on your knuckles. You know what I mean? Like, fortunately, I had gloves, but one time I was like, man, I don't want to wear. I was like leather gloves. Fuck, dude, it burns so bad. Like it hurts, man.
Yeah, and then those 2 states was when the story of El Ricky gets even oilier.
It does get away with it.
Well, you saw my bike.
So the
Everybody
job
does
he
it.
from to do in Long Beach didn't work out so well.
No. That worked out. That worked out fine. This
just
leak, but this leak is from was from the tube for my shifter.
That we
yeah,
just found out, but
That's right,
yeah,
yeah.
his primary. So
Yeah.
Every fucking stop. I mean, we were loading that bitch up with oil.
Just dumping.
Yeah.
I mean, dumping and then getting all over my tire. So it's like my tire got so bad once we got into Texas. I was like, I kept telling myself, like, man, I don't give a fuck. We're taking left curves and turns. I'm slowing the fuck down. This bike's staying as straight up as I can through any left turns. I was like, we go downhill right or right turns, I'll lean and get it all day. But the minute that fucking road goes this way, I'm slowing the fuck down.
Yeah. To say how much oil, so Candiie has a quarter windshield that's tinted, and then so pretty much you used to be able to see through it. Not so much anymore.
Yeah, that's-
like it
Like
is fucking.
from-
It's like a slight tint.
From tip to toe,
You can't
my
tell
bike
right
is
now.
covered in oil. Like it's even around the back of my bags. So.
Yeah, and your bike's white, so it's got this like dingy
It's
road
nice
look
and
to it.
glossy. And
Yeah.
yeah. Well, it's not supposed
So
to.
now
be
that
No.
so now that y'all are back and everything's kind of like getting back to normal, like what's the next big trip? Is it going to be Sturgis for some of you guys or what?
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to definitely do that, whether Sturgis happens or not.
Right.
We got a
Yeah.
buddy of ours,
So
Rick
a guy,
Nixie.
the guy that rode, I rode home alone from Sturgis. I rode up with Rick Nixie, and he loved it there so much. He sold his property in Houston and bought property at like 3
I think
acres
you were
in
telling me
Custer.
about that.
So
Yeah.
even if Sturgis doesn't go down, we owe it to him to come see his property. So we're going to make that trip.
Yeah,
well,
that's happening.
We've been talking about it quite a bit because I guess they're waiting to announce it on the 15th of June. But, you know, as someone's been to Sturgis a few times, it's like that rally is not dictated by any one person.
Absolutely
no.
not.
It is the entire portion of the state is having a fucking ball.
That was my first
Yeah.
trip to Sturgis, and I only went to Sturgis proper twice. I rode the entire time I was there.
Yeah.
So, and I encourage people to go even if they don't have the rally. It's amazing.
Yeah, dude. If the rally doesn't happen, it probably would be even better because then
yeah.
you can enjoy
Right.
it more.
Because then it's
Exactly.
a full rider function. Like everyone's going to
Yeah.
make their own events, which I
Yeah.
think will be
Right.
so much more genuine.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, you got to understand, like all those bars down there, they're not going to not open, dude.
yeah.
Right.
It's like at that point in time, I think we're supposed to be back to 100%. You know, things working,
And then what are you supposed to do? Just turn away hundreds of people? Like no, sorry, we got no place for you. Go sleep on the street.
yeah,
Come on, that ain't
There's
gonna happen.
You know, like if anything, after all these riots are showing, one thing is that all this social distancing is not as important as what they're making out to be. In about 14 more days, if people ain't dying from this shit or getting COVID, then that shit is null and void. Get it off the table. We're on to some other shit. Yeah. Where are the aliens at? Bring them on. We're ready now.
Yeah, that's a Roger.
God. It's still a Twilight Zone shit. Especially coming back home to that shit. I mean, Houston, we came back home to riots. Like you can't.
All I'm saying is I'm starting to feel a little self-conscious. All right, so like I said, I just did 13 and a half months offshore, Yeah. I mean, I was coming back and forth, but when that job was over and I came home 2 days later, they shut the whole fucking state down, right? Yeah. So then we take off and we burn off, go to California, come back. Both times I was coming from California. Yeah. Come back home and the whole fucking city's throwing riots down.
Saying this is your fault.
I'm starting to feel a little self-conscious, you know what I mean? Things are happening. I don't know.
Fortunately, I think I was telling you guys the bike night tonight is 1 block away from the quarantine. Or not the quarantine, but the curfew zone.
The curfew zone,
yeah, we're good.
God damn it. So, but at least we got to get this fucking trip in was the biggest thing. Like, we took advantage of this environment that we're currently in. And I mean, a lot of feedback, like we documented the whole entire trip on the FXR page, and just the overall feedback, like people were hitting us up saying like, I went out and rode my bike today. I haven't rode my bike in months. It's been fucking dripping oil in the garage. And just like saying, hey, you guys are inspiring us to get out and ride, which was just the biggest thing, because that's what we want to fucking do.
Yeah.
And so I just, the whole, like the trip and everything that we learned and adapted to, and you can get away with very limited planning and old bikes as long as you persevere. Like,
I mean, she would argue that a little bit.
Yeah.
She's like, you get away with it.
So like super fix those bikes up, or get a different one.
Well, I got it.
No,
grow up, dude.
Like I said, the bar was set when Oklahoma was cool, and then it went to shit for California. But now I'm prepared. I know what's going on, and But to watch everybody come together and watch us, like Outlaw Dave down in Houston, he was reposting everything of mine onto the Bikes on the Bio, so all of Houston could see it. Mm-hmm. And so I made it a point to go on there, and people started following and talking to me about it, and they're like, that's so cool, because they dubbed it the quarantine 2020 trip, which it didn't even occur to me that that's what we were doing. We were just trying to go have a good time.
Yeah, and we definitely had one of those.
Yeah, we definitely were not worried about pandemic or quarantine.
No. And it was more a pain in the dick.
All I'm saying is we were social distancing way faster and way better than most.
You can't get much more quarantine than on your motorcycle anyway.
But it adds another element. Like, to long trips, it adds that element of you can't take breaks at restaurants. Like, you don't.
Yeah, that did hurt.
Like,
that was crazy.
Gas station food only.
3 times
Cliff Bars,
between Oklahoma and all the way back to, through California and Houston. I think 3 times we got to have sit-down meals inside of like an establishment.
Like, it was memorable. Yeah. Why the fuck do I give a shit about a Waffle House? I give a shit about it in Tucson, Arizona, because that was the first time we ate somewhere.
I've ate that Waffle House a bunch of times.
Yeah. But just to sit the fuck down, and you're just like, all you got to worry about is ordering food and eating.
Yeah, because most of the fast food joints are only drive-thrus.
Yeah, and we had to pay these kids $10 because McDonald's was closed.
And I'm like, I was willing to give him $20, but then he was like, $10 cool, and I was like, put that one back. Let's just give him this. They were shut down, and we still got 3 quarter pounders with cheese and some fries, but they were closed for they've been closed for 20 minutes already.
Well, see, it seems like some places you could still walk inside, order food, and then just go sit out front and find some shade on a tree or something and eat the food. I mean, that's what we did on the way back from the camp out. Is we just stopped at a McDonald's, and we were able to go inside and order the food because the inside was open for order and takeout only. So.
See, we didn't run across any of that stuff.
No, all of
anywhere, everywhere we went, it was you could not enter. You had to do a drive-through thing, and of course we're on the bikes. We're like, oh fuck all that.
Or it had to be ordered online and brought to you, so you could just park and order. You had to pre-order online.
Yeah, I never want to eat a Cliff Bar for a long time.
Oh, there was one place where we got the wings from, but that was in
New Braunfels.
Right, New Braunfels, and that was supposed to be like order online and then or call it in or whatever, but that chick was cool. She came out and took our order for us, and that was the only place in that same thing. We just sat out in the parking lot and ate, but there was no shady tree. In the parking lot.
You're parking lot partying in the fucking heat, no sun, and just like nothing to rush you back on. Like, it's just it adds a different element to it, like big time. But
well, shit, guys, let's wrap this up and let's go eat some food.
Yeah, we got a bike night tonight.
Yeah, we got it. Yeah.
Orale.
Tell everybody where to follow y'all. Shit.
Well, If you're interested in the trip, it's at FXRs of HTX. We support the local Houston scene with FXR riders and communities. So we go we have videos, pictures, and everything. If you want to check that out.
And I am Candiie Lynn, CandiiELYNN. On Instagram.
And then you're with Motorcycles and Mortgages?
Yeah, and then I do have Motorcycles and Mortgages. I actually work for Pro Lending Mortgage, and I started the Motorcycles and Mortgages page because my clients, when I talk to them at gas stops, are like, we want to see what you're doing. So that's how that started, but that's not the name of the company. So
yeah. Basically, she does your mortgage while on the road.
While on the road.
On a
he has a
motorcycle.
picture of me actually pulled my laptop out at a gas station because it was that big of an emergency. I'm like,
yeah.
But it's super fun.
What do they follow you at?
And you can follow me at Original El Ricky. That'll be the stuff that won't make it on the FXRs of HTX page.
Cool. All right, guys. We'll appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Hope you guys enjoyed that. And once again, I want to thank you guys for checking out our podcast. If you want to support it, here's the two main ways. First off is check out our Patreon, which you can go to our website, fastlifegarage.com. It's on the front page. Donate $1, $5, $10, whatever you feel comfortable with. And that helps support this podcast monthly. The other best and most encouraged way is to check out our sponsors. Clockworks on Instagram, getclock.com, and Fast10 at checkout to save yourself some cash and shipping. Screamin' Speed and Fab on Instagram and screaminspeedandfab.com. Offer code KTFU for 13% off. Dream Rides John on Instagram and teamdreamrides.com. Paint Huffer Metal Flake on Instagram and painthuffer.com. Fast Life 13 for 10% off. Thundermax EFI on Instagram, shoptmax.com, and Fast Life at checkout for 10% off. Lexan Moto on Instagram and lexan-moto.com. Fast Life at checkout, 15% off. SBC Performance on Instagram and sbcperformance.com, and Fast Life at checkout for 10% off. Invisivin on Instagram and invisivin.com. 15% off when you use offer code FASTLIFE. Thank you guys for joining us. I have another podcast recorded, ready to drop, and I'll be doing it in about Wednesday because me and the boys are jumping on the bikes and headed to the Smoky Mountains this weekend. So we're going to be passing through. If you listen to this and you want to hang out with us or ride with us, whatever, Thursday night, we will be in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Should be there kind of late, but if anybody's around, they know some great bars that's open. it's just whatever. Or you got a nice backyard and you want to fucking light a fire and get some 12 packs, let us know. We'll come through. Also, the next night, Friday, we will be in the Maggie Valley / Asheville, North Carolina area looking to mingle. And then Saturday night, we will be in Johnson City, Tennessee. Sunday night, we'll be in Nashville, but we'll probably be there kind of late. So, we're looking to hit the streets and have a good time, leave a mark maybe. And then Monday night, we will be in Little Rock hanging out with my machinist and maybe Tony from Busted Knuckles Stunt Tour. So looking forward to seeing any of you guys along the route. Don't hesitate to reach out to the Fast Life Garage on Instagram and let us know what's going on. So anyway, we'll see you back here in a couple of days with another podcast. Enjoy this one. Peace.